Yo, yo, yo. What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Sorry I'm late. We we super late tonight. Not crazy late, but we like almost 30 minutes late. So my bad. But shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to all the returning viewers, all the new viewers. Shout out Bloodhound Lil Jeff for being first in the chat. All right. Shout out Jew saying what up, what's poppin', homie. Brandon late as usual. Dun Daughter, shout out. Perfecto. Win your homie, the streets. Gabe, what's poppin', Gabe? I'm going to say it for you one time, homie, and then we're just going to call you Gabe for the evening. But shout out to Gabe Blackman. Shout out to Gabe Blackman. He more late than a black guy. Oh, God. Well, shit, that makes sense, Jew, because I'm operating on, intrinsically, I operate on Hawaii time, homie. So that makes perfect sense. I'm always late. You guys know how it is by now. Then again, all right, I got you, Gabe. I got you. Okay, so I mean, let's waste no time. Let's get into the main topic of the evening. I usually do like multiple titles, right? In the headline, but today we got one title, and it's one title we got to work through. But, everybody run up the likes on the stream real quick. Everybody who's tuning in right now, run up the likes on the stream. Now, yeah, there's a topic we got to work through, and it's this one right here. Mike Malott, he gets his Canadian flag ripped away during his post-fight octagon celebration after his win over Gilbert Burns. So, I mean, that's kind of egregious, but for those that don't know, right, there's a new policy that's been implemented in the UFC, and apparently you're not allowed to bring your flag inside the octagon because it blocks out the sponsors' logos. God forbid. God forbid it blocks out the sponsors' logos. The same logos that used to be allowed on the fighters' shorts that the UFC took away with the uniform policy, and then stole the opportunity for themselves and started littering the octagon with other sponsors and labels. I mean, they already did that, right? They already did that. I'm 90% sure. I got to look back. Should we look back and see like UFC 100? Who fought at UFC 100? Lesnar versus Mir. I'm just curious to see. Obviously, I don't have got it memorized. Yeah, so they've always had the labels in the octagon. You can see it right here. Harley Davidson, Bud Light in the center, some energy drink. They've always had the labels. But yeah, now fighters can't bring flags into the octagon because it blocks out the sponsors, even though the sponsors have always been there. A lot of people calling cap on that. They're saying, I don't believe that. That's a bullshit excuse. There's got to be a different reason. Hence tonight's thumbnail, right? And we got to be really careful operating this one. But, tonight's thumbnail, we got Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro, right? Let's get this right. Ari Emanuel is what again? Ari Emanuel is the CEO and executive chairman of TKO. Now let's look up who Mark Shapiro is. I'm just gonna say it. Two Jews. Okay, I mean that's probably gonna get me in trouble somewhere, but it needs to be said. Mark Shapiro is a COO of TKO Holdings, right? So we got the COO of TKO Holdings, Mark Shapiro, and then the CEO and executive chairman of TKO, Ari Emanuel. All right. And now the thumbnail, it says this evening, it says they are ruining UFC, right? And this pertains to Mike Malott not being allowed to raise his flag, the octagon officials cracking down on it and ripping it out of his hands. Um, you know, I don't know. So we're just gonna go through everything because this has been a big conversation. A big conversation. And it goes back when I had Kevin from Chicago call in. What was his biggest complaint about the UFC? I said, what's your hottest take? What's your biggest take about the UFC? Boom. Homie goes right into TKO owning it, right? YouTube already shadow banning it. You know what I mean? I don't know, Jew. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I'm going to be really careful with this one. I'm going to be really careful with this one because I don't really want to be shadow banned. You feel me? But I want to just kind of lay this out for you guys. And I don't know. Honestly, the thumbnail, it should have been a question mark behind it. But shit, I thought it was more spicy to leave the question mark out as if I'm making the definitive statement. I'm not necessarily making the definitive statement, right? I'm not saying that Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel are ruining the UFC, but I'm open to that idea. You know, I'm open to that idea, and that's what we're going to try to figure out and map out in tonight's stream. You know, are they ruining the UFC? Just off the top of my head, you know, it's like, let's just address the elephant in the room, right? Or are they really banning flags because of the reason I just gave? They're banning flags because it blocks out the sponsors' logos, right? Is that the reason, or is the reason because, you know, they don't want to open up the risk of raising the certain flag that Khamzat Chimaev or Bilal Muhammad like to raise, right? Is it to avoid things like that? Is it? I don't know. I think it could be, to be honest. People were also speculating a lot back in the day that, like, you know, Bilal Muhammad not getting his title opportunity was directly because of Ari Emanuel. If you get it, you get it. Now, this is going to be a bit of a more woke stream because I'm not explaining things, you know, like I normally do. You guys are going to have to figure this out on your own if you aren't tapped in. If you are tapped in, you should get what I'm trying to tell you guys. But, like, you know, I'm not saying it any further than Bilal Muhammad and Khamzat Chimaev. They like to bring a certain flag into the octagon, right, after their wins. Was Bilal's title shot delayed? Has this rule been implemented because of this? There was also something about, you know, at one point in time, I believe they changed this up during the Ukraine war. I think that's fair to say, right? They initially changed this up because of Ukraine. I don't know the exact reason, but if anybody knows that answer, please drop it in the chat. UFC is so boring now, gosh. Shout out to Soda Pop. I would have never thought I'd seen the day where Soda Pop fucking admits that the UFC is boring now. I would have never fucking thought I'd see the day. But you're right, homie. You're right. You're right. And, you know, listen. I just want to be clear about this too. When people like myself, at least I can't speak for others, but when I say the UFC is boring now, bro, it's not like I want to hate on the fucking UFC. You know, like, it's not like I want to do that. I actually would rather come on here and big up the UFC and be excited to talk about big matchups that are about to take place, right? Map out who the real number one contenders should be in these respective weight classes, but we just don't have any of that conversation. You know, we don't. And so we can only resort back to the UFC sucks now. Anyway, I don't want to get fully on that, right? But I just want to speak about this Ari Emanuel thing. You know, TKO, Endeavor being the owners, the UFC being, right, a company run by a certain group of people. You know, is it ruining the UFC? Shout out Tuxedo Mask. Shout out Tuxedo for the $2 dono. I don't want to say those words right now, Tux, just because, you know, of what I'm speaking about. I would like to get this message put out to people. So I'm going to be really careful with the words I'm using. Because I just know that they're going to shadow ban it. You know, I just know it. So just allow me to not read that chat out. But thank you, Tuxedo. It's being subverted by the subverters. Okay. Shout out Tuxedo for the $2 donos. He got another one that says they want to extinguish nationalism, globo homos. Execs are 100% ruining the sport. They only care about shareholder profit, don't care about it, fights or the sport. So, okay. So again, I'm going to be reading the chat as much as I can. I'm going to read a few more and then I'm going to get back into the topic. Paramount era has been rough, but going to have to save the UFC with a dub. That's facts, Soda Pop. It's straight facts. You know, I can't wait for all the people who be telling me that I glazed the fuck out of him, right? I can't wait for all those same people to come back in this chat and be like, damn, Buck's such a dope fighter. You know what I mean? Damn, he's really him. We're going to see on March 9th. May 9th. We finna find out come May 9th. TKO ruining UFC and WWE at the same damn time. Shout out to Gravy. Tony South saying word. Sodapot goes, no hate to Mike Malott because he got a big dub, I guess. It's not a big dub, homie. You don't have to do that for him. I got you. Let me say it. It ain't a big dub. But he's got the most awkward boxing I've ever seen. How is he getting main events? Because of the state of the UFC, Sodapop. I don't want to be so critical of Mike Malott. You know, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I know him. He is a nice guy. It's so unnatural to him. I've never trained a day in my life, but I'd outbox Malott. All right, Soda Pop. All right, I got you. I personally haven't noticed it. I barely watched last night's fight, though. What's poppin', Flores? I see you in here. And by the way, Flores, I did read your chat already, homie. I already did read it. Just say tiny hats. Okay, Tony. Ricky LaFleur says, what's good? You're not going to drop brown guy in there, Ricky? You're just going to say, what's good, kid? Retype that, Ricky. I'm bucked up. Okay, and then Flo says execs are 100% ruining the sport. They only care about shareholder profits, not fights or sport. So, yeah, that brings me to another point about this whole thing, right? Just the fact that we had UFC Winnipeg last night, right? We had UFC Winnipeg last night. It's the lowest, it's one of the lower, selling events. I'm going to try to break this down in chronological order as much as possible. So here's another one. Don't be scared, homie. Well, shit, Tux. Do I look scared to you? I just really don't want to get shadow banned. But, I mean, look at the thumbnail, homie. You think I'm scary? Never that, homie. Never that. Anyway, thank you for the $2 donut once again. But speaking about, TKO ruining the sport, they don't care. They only care about maximizing profits, right? It's turning into essentially like Walmart and all these other, not Walmart, but man, I don't got these examples off the top of my head, but it's like the UFC is turning into corporate America, if you will, bringing down the cost of the product itself while maximizing, profits. Let's spend as little as possible. Let's keep dwindling down as little as possible. It's like McDonald's. Okay, for example, McDonald's, let's just say, right, in the beginning of time, they used to put like a 1 ounce cheese slice on the burger, right? You get a 1 ounce cheese slice on your McDonald's burger, right? Through corporate greed, right? People coming in year after year, these new suits, trying to maximize profits because that's what they're paid for, right? So year after year, they're going to be taken away from the customer, but they're also going to be effectively raising their prices because of inflation, right? So they're taken away from the customer year after year to the point where nowadays, I just told you back in the early day, let's just use the example and say that McDonald's was giving you 1 ounce of cheese. Well, now because of all the execs running McDonald's, all the new hires, and every year comes along, they want to do this thing where it's like, okay, we need to increase our profits more. We need to increase our profits more. So everybody's always taken away. All the execs always take away from the customer more than anything else. Why do you guys think I'm fine with stealing? Because go ahead and steal from Walmart all you want, bro. These motherfuckers steal from you guys left and right. But anyway, back to the example. Nowadays, we getting like 0.25 of an ounce of cheese on our McDonald's burgers, right? Because of corporate greed. And that's what, people are fearing about the UFC, that the UFC is spending less and less and less on the actual product, and they're just trying to maximize profits. So they're spending less on the fighters. Let's put it like that. They're spending less on the talent. They're bringing in less quality talent as well to save money or something like that. But then, they're securing a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount. The money's already been made, and now they can just shoot out all these shit events, and the money's been made. Paramount already sent them the $7.7 billion. Paramount got to worry about recouping that now with their ads and all that other shit. With their ads and their sponsorships through the broadcast. That's how they're going to try to recoup that. But the UFC, it ain't their job anymore. It ain't their job anymore. And so that is one thing, like the UFC's toting out these bad cards. And it brings me to this example right here. Okay, the UFC announced for UFC Winnipeg was 1.9 million. I could be wrong, but I swear Dana said 1.8 in the post-fight press conference. I swear he said 1.8, but it doesn't really matter. We're talking about 1.8 or 1.9 million. The bottom line is, UFC Winnipeg gate 1.9 million. Let's go with that one. The first event in the city was UFC 161 in June 2013. Rashad Evans versus Dan Henderson generated a $3 million gate. Now I know it's UFC 161, so that's actually maybe not as fair, right? We can say it's not as fair, but compared to a fight night. But again, with inflation and all these things and the prices of tickets compared to in 2013 compared to today, right? They're more. They are more. Whatever seat, wherever anybody sat, front row or back row, right? It's safe to assume that the tickets for the nosebleeds were, levels above what they were in 2013 for a Winnipeg event. And so it goes to show that, like, honestly, with 13 years in between, for them to actually go down 1.1 million, even with it being a UFC fight night, is kind of a disgrace, bro. If anything, it should have been just like even and tied. And then we could have said, well, yeah, and it's tied because, it wasn't a pay-per-view and the UFC raised their prices over all these years. So that makes sense. But to actually be lower than that is kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. But this, I will just point it out there that it's a bad point, kind of, comparing a numbered card to a fight night because of all the intricacies I have to go on to explain. It's not an apples to apples comparison. So you do have to point out some of the differences. The fact that, a numbered card is a pay-per-view. There's better talent on there. There's more promotion behind it. Usually a title's on the line. In this case, it was light heavyweight. Oh, no. No, I guess there was no title on the line. Maybe there was. I don't know. But it says light heavyweight bout. So anyway, that's why it's tougher to compare these. Bro, it's Mike Malott. How can you compare that to Rashad Evans? Bro, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, okay? So blame Andy Hickey. He got me on that one. But, again, these points, they do stand a little bit. They do stand a little bit because of how I explained it already. For them to not even tie an event from 13 years ago, fight night or not, I think it's a bit of a disgrace. I would have accepted that. If they tied that revenue, right, that gate, 13 years apart, a fight night tying a numbered card 13 years apart, okay. It's a gate. It's not sales as far as like, pay-per-view buys. It's a gate, bro. It's ticket sales. So I think that the ticket sales are a bit different than pay-per-view sales. Don't get it twisted. 1.9 million was generated on the gate, ticket sales. 3.1 million was generated on the gate in 2013, ticket sales. So, if you're selling out arenas, which they didn't do at Winnipeg, that's a problem. They should have sold out the arena, right? So it goes. It's a broader topic. You guys got to be a bit educated for this one. But it's like, just to almost re-say something a bit different. The gate is ticket sales. Okay, so essentially the UFC is known for selling out arenas. That's what they're known for. So they should have made a decent amount of money off of this card. And I don't think that they should be 1.1 million below even a numbered card that took place 13 years ago. I don't think that they should be. If you're selling out these events, you would have made more than 3 million. The problem is they didn't sell out UFC Winnipeg. And I think there's another report on that somewhere. I could try to find it. Might not be able to. We'll see. Yeah, I guess I won't be able to find it. Oh, and then here's another one. Here's another odd one. What's the entity for Raph / Real American Beer that TKO has an equity stake in? Is it in SEC filings? Yeah, because this guy goes, TKO has an equity interest in Raph. Hence why, the UFC loans out their wrestlers to their fighters to Raph. Does this make sense to you guys? So TKO, right? That's run by Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel. TKO has an equity interest in Raph. And that's why they loan out their wrestlers. But actually, people are always telling half truths. So it's like, Fight Opinion goes, what's the entity for Raph / Real American Beer that TKO has an equity stake in? Is it in SEC filings? And then this guy goes, TKO's minority stake in the beer brand was in a press release. I don't believe RAF was formally disclosed, though. So we gotta be tipping our toes about the equity stake in RAF alone. But Real American Beer was announced in a press release that there's a minority stake by TKO. So, just understand that one as well. TKO has a minority stake in Real American Beer. Real American Beer is owned essentially, in tandem with RAF. The same owners of RAF own Real American Beer. That's why they're getting promoted hand in hand. It's like Dana White, right? He owns the UFC, but he used that to promote Howlerhead. So it's the same type of thing. Real American Beer, RAF, just think about UFC and Howlerhead. And TKO has a stake interest, minority stake in Real American Beer, which gets promoted through RAF. So by, of course, loaning out Arman Sarukian, you're going to get more eyes on the event, which is going to get more eyes on Real American Beer. Okay. That's just another thing. As to why, wrestlers can go over to Raph, but they can't go over to CJI, right? UFC fighters can go to Raph, but they can't go to CJI. Huh. Well, maybe because Craig Jones owns CJI and not, TKO. So TKO really runs this shit now. They really do run this shit. They really do. Shout out to Tuxedo goes, what's happening to the UFC is a microcosm of what's happening to the West at large. Yeah. And so I got a little bit more for you guys, but I just want to speak on a lot of the opinions that I have off the top of the dome. So just allow me to kind of freestyle this as I usually like to do. Okay. So, just bear with me. I need to just gather all my thoughts. This originated with Mike Malott, right? And then Mike Malott gets his flag ripped away. And then, they say, oh, no flags in the octagon anymore because it blocks the logos. Okay. All right. What's another thing that happened? Here's just some of my raw thoughts. I just want to share my raw thoughts with you guys, and please comment it in the chat what you think about the raw thoughts. But what's another thing that happened? Well, not number one, because I don't even know what number we're on anymore. But another thing that happened is Sean Strickland, right, post-fight press conference, ripped away, right? You would imagine that was Paramount's doing. Whatever the case, it's going to mess with their sponsors or something like that, even though the post-fight press conference isn't televised. But whatever. I guess it's a cosign by them. I don't know. But you got to assume it was Paramount Plus who pulled the plug on Sean Strickland's mic. Now, we can look at who owns Paramount. I really don't even know these answers before I look it up. But before I even do that, I just want to say that, the Paramount deal, going for the most money possible, right? I don't know. It's like, I don't even think Dana's smart enough to avoid that mistake. My question would be, though, is does Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro have some connections to Paramount? I don't know. And here I was thinking Paramount wasn't soft. No, I mean, they wasted no time ripping away Sean Strickland's mic. I saw some journalists say the Baku main event will be Ikram Aliskerov versus Bruno Ferreira. Oh, how funny. Coming off a knockout loss by Gregory Rodriguez. Perfect. Or Abu versus Michelle Oleksiejczuk. Are we serious? Unranked main event. AI, this is the Big 26, bro. Toss two guys in the. This is the perfect talking point, though, right? Toss two unranked guys in the main event. Let's save a little bit of money on the salaries. Okay, let's save a little bit of money on the salaries. And then, we'll maximize profits for the event. TKO wins again. The shareholders win again. The UFC fighters and the fans lose again. Right? That's how this thing seems to be working out right now, Lou AI. You talking about, are you kidding me? Unranked fighters in the main event. How is that any different from a new exec coming in at McDonald's and saying, oh, you guys are putting too much cheese on the burger? If we reduce the amount of cheese that you put on the burger by 1/2 an ounce or 1/4 of an ounce over a year, we can maximize profits by, 1.5 million across the US. Global, we're talking 5 million. That's the type of talks that are now going on in the UFC. The cheapskates, the cheap bastards. That's my guess. If you're putting an unranked main event at UFC Baku, come on. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same shit. It's literally the same shit. Let's give you less product, still charge you the same. Everything's still going to be the same. You're not really going to notice the difference. But yeah, you're getting a quarter less cheese on that motherfucking burger, and we are reaping in more profits. Except we notice the damn difference. We for sure notice the damn difference. Tuxedo goes, Larry Ellison owns Paramount. Guess his ethnicity. Oh shit, homie. I don't even gotta guess it. I already know it. You know, I mean, I don't know it, but shit, it goes without saying, right? They own fucking literally everything. Tuxedo, just stick around because I'm gonna show you a video. I'm gonna show you a video that I think a lot of people are gonna like. Was that famous German right about them? Oof. Jew, come on. Come on. I can't get canceled, homie. I'm gonna plead the fifth. I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one, Jew, but shout out to you, homie. Fans aren't smart enough to boycott bad cards like last one. If they do, Paramount will force Dana to put good cards, but here we are. And shout out to Lou AI. Lou AI, just so you know, because I know you just joined the streams last night. Homie, I've been telling the chat, the streams for like months. Not every day, but I've mentioned this several times where I've said, guys, when a shit fight is on, I need you guys to actually turn off the stream. Let the numbers tank because that's the only way they're going to see it. If you guys just watch it and keep it on the TV and then talk shit about it later, you're actually doing the opposite of what you think you're doing. You're keeping the numbers spiked by keeping it on the TV. And then you're talking about it, posting it on social media. Bad press is also good press. It don't matter if you talk shit about it. The UFC is going to be like, oh, they're talking about it. You know, this is eventually gonna flip over and it's going to turn from negativity to positivity. You know, just to keep it cut and dry, it's like the women's fights, you guys should straight turn off the TV. Let that number go down to 0. You know, but a lot of people don't do that. And that, what did I tell you guys? I said that for them putting Ronda versus Gina in the main event for the Netflix card, since they think they're so smart doing that, for whatever reason, because they got these quote unquote bigger fan bases, okay, then I want you guys, when Gina and Ronda for the MVP Netflix card comes on, I need you guys to turn off the TV. Watch it up until Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry concludes. And then as soon as the women's main event goes off, do not leave it on the TV and go walk around the house and not pay attention. That's not good enough. I need you to actually hit the X button out of the Netflix stream and turn it off completely. And then tune back in once the event has concluded. Once the fight has concluded, you can turn it back on and catch the result. You know, but you guys need to do this. It needs to actually be reflected in their numbers. And I'm speaking about that as somebody whose numbers reflects me too. You feel me? My numbers reflect me too. When I talk about boring ass shit in the stream, guess what happens? My numbers go down. You guys leave it. You exit out and go do something else. You know, so this is what needs to happen. You guys need to do the UFC just like you do us, just like I do other content creators. You know, but for some reason, everybody gets to abide by this rule of like, as content creators, we got to feed the fans what they want to see or else our numbers are going to tank, except the UFC. Except the UFC. The UFC doesn't have to be held by that standard because the fans are so loyal. But because you guys are so loyal, just understand that you open yourself up to getting taken advantage of, and you are effectively getting taken advantage of. You are, for your loyalty. You know, so I don't know how many more ways I can explain that. And that's a big side note because we are speaking about Ari and Mark Shapiro. You know, and just like we said, right? Just like you know, Larry Ellison owns Paramount. The UFC decided to sign with Paramount over ESPN, over other companies, right? They chose Paramount above all else. Paramount happens to be owned by a certain group of people. Okay. TKO is ran and owned and operated by a certain group of people. The same group of people own the same, you know, the same group of people that own Paramount. They also own TKO, the same groups of people. How funny. And then Sean Strickland's mic gets ripped away. So there you go. It's basically confirmed. If Paramount is owned by this group of people, it's confirmed, bro. It's confirmed. Now, what else have we talked about? You know, we talked about the corporate greed. You know, these unranked fighters apparently that are going to headline UFC Baku to make another quick buck, to feed the shareholders. You know, I think that's a decent amount of the stuff. Hunter Campbell's a fucking nerd too. Why is he the matchmaker? You know, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell. The guy with the fashionable mustache, sus tuxedo. Yes, that guy. The painter. Famous German. Better turn off that women's fight. Yes, Franklin, they better. True, that can happen. That is a possibility that could happen if we actually all do at once or actually get on the same page about it. Otto, can we be on the same page? Otto, just think about me, homie. Turn that shit off. You know I'd be fucking screaming it. I'm that little voice in your ear. You know what I mean? You sit there and you're watching a fight you don't want to see and you step away, but you keep it on the screen. Next time you step away for an intermission, you know how we say, oh, 15-minute piss break. The women are about to come up. Don't leave it on, motherfuckers. Turn that shit off. I'm about to fucking crash out. Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby are matchmakers, not Hunter. That's true. Thanks for clearing that up, Flores. I be moving fast sometimes. I'm not even catching it. Even the YouTubers with big channels like Guru and Bedtime, if they ignore the cards and not do predictions or recaps about them, it will help, but it seems like we will keep getting bad cards. Don't hold your breath for Guru. I don't know much about Bedtime, but don't hold your breath for Guru. You know, Guru's busy serving up the hungry and thirsty fan base, you know, for the positivity or just the glazing of the cards, you know. Guru, he got his own niche, and it ain't no hate. But Guru, don't hold your breath. Guru's not going to ignore the cards. He's not going to do predictions or recaps. You know, he's not going to not do those just because the cards are bad. His fan base and a lot of he's got the hardcore fan base on lock, and the hardcore fan base, you know, they could care less about the things I'm saying right now. To be honest, I know a lot of you guys are hardcore too, but there's a whole nother group of the hardcores who just like pridefully shill for the UFC. And that's who Guru got locked in. So if anything, if Guru didn't cover the cards, you know, they'd be pissed off at him. In fact, I had somebody comment this on IG. These are the dumbass toxic fans, just so you guys know. But I had somebody on my IG yesterday when I posted I Showed Speed, Frog Splashed Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Keep in mind, I Show Speed, Logan Paul, WrestleMania. Okay, we're talking about two of the biggest global, you know, internet personalities in the world. All right. And then we're talking about WrestleMania, another one of the biggest annual events of any, you know, it's an annual event. So of course it's of the year. Right. So I post two of the biggest entertainers, you know, performing on one of the biggest events of the year, frog splashing from the top rope. Right. And then I got some dumbass bird brain UFC fucking cocksucker just riding on that meat, deep throwing it. He goes, combat sports blog, quote unquote, posting about a streamer wrestling and not any of the good moments on tonight's UFC card. You mean UFC Winnipeg headlined by Mike Malott and Gilbert Burns? Shit, I can't even be bothered by that shit, homie. Of course I'm not posting about that. Fuck you. Masvidal's knee, suck my dick. You know, and everybody who liked that comment, all 5 people who liked that comment. You know, suck my fucking dick. You want me to post about Nalo getting knocked out or what? Don't nobody know who Nalo is, bro. That's the problem, though. But my point is this guy Masvidal's knee is exactly who Guru, you know, feeds with his videos. Guru feeds people, and these fans exist. It's not a bad thing. It's just not me, bro. It's just not me. I'm not just gonna jerk myself to the UFC 24/7. I want to see good shit. And these people act like it's their product. They take a nationalistic pride in the UFC. As if like it always has to be this positively spoken about thing because it's their precious, you know, UFC. It's crazy to me. But, you know, I can't be like that. I just cannot be like that. So Guru's going to continue with that. It's fine. It ain't no hate. I'm just explaining to you guys why he will continue to do it. I had NBA on today. I failed. Rare fail. Although I am the NBA quarter god, but do crack streams. Well, shout out to Franklin. Yeah, fuck the NBA. You know, justice for what's his name again? Homie's name who got banned out of there. Sean too based. God's chosen people. Shout out to Lou. Lou's a perfect fan in this chat. Guru part of the problem. Guru got the children. Yeah. Well, it definitely just makes it more nationalistic, Tyler Betts, to respond to what you're saying there, Guru part of the problem. It makes it seem like it's normal, you know, to be in love with these cards. And it's just not, bro. I mean, it's cool, but it's just like, let me put it like this. Okay, Nalo got fraud checked. Nalo got fraud checked. Like, nobody cares that Nalo got fraud checked. The only reason why they care is because they care about Guru. So if Guru posts about it, he's actually putting Nalo on. So it's a concept in its own right. I don't really want to get too deep into it, but let's just put it like this: Guru's doing a big favor to those fighters. He's putting them on. It's twisted up because it'll appear like, oh, well, if Guru gets numbers talking about Nalo and UFC Winnipeg, then maybe that's what I should be doing. But it's like, don't get it twisted, homie. That's not what you should be doing, because you're not going to get numbers chasing that. You gotta branch off and do your own thing. Guru's in his niche. Guru found this niche for himself. Don't try to take it from him. But you see everybody trying to do these card reactions, these card breakdowns. You notice I don't really do it. I'll do a little post show. We could talk about it, but do I clip it off? Do I make these, not really. And when I do, they don't even do good numbers. So it just proves my point that, like, when Guru does 150K on a my reaction to UFC Winnipeg, it's not because it's because the fans like him, bro. They like him. That's a fucking big old compliment. I couldn't give him more of a compliment than that. He's bigger than the cards. There was a couple good fights on that card. No, yeah, there always are. Guru's a casual at this point. Those type of fans are in Discord a lot debating. Canada card was actually kind of fire. No, it turns out to be fire, but my argument is, you can't build on a bigger scale. You cannot build a sport off of cards like that. So you can call it fire all you want, not to get on Tyler Betts' ass like that. No Diddy, but you can call it fire all you want. You cannot develop and evolve and build a sport like that. You just can't. So it could be fire all. I just want that to be super clear. It could be as fire as you guys want to call it. Call it fire. It could. Let me put it like this too. It could have resulted in all finishes. Putting all those no names on the card, putting Mike Malott versus Gilbert Burns in the main event, you're not gonna build a sport like that. This is Bellator type shit. Didn't watch the women though. Shout out to Space Kid. I hope you turned off the TV too. Can we get a close up of the Brawley figure? Says Tux. Thank you for the $2 dono, Tux. I mean, shit, you donated too. Anything you want, homie. Anything you want. Brawley looking brawlic, bro. Brawley looking brawlic. This my straight this my motivation. You feel me? Shit, I'm trying to look like Brawley. I be trying to look like Brawley. I be trying to look like Paulo Costa. You feel me? Shout out the anime convention I got that at. Doing some journalistic work in college. Went to like the OC fair or something like that. Copped it there. Yeah, they are tuning in for Guru. Exactly, Space Kid. Damn, W perspective. Shout out Space Kid. You already know, homie. I know I was cooking when I was saying that shit about Guru, and for the last like 5 minutes I was cooking. Straight cooking. Dropping 100 soon, Tux. Don't fuck with me, holy. Shout out to fucking Franklin. My man fucking Franklin. Guru promotes gambling sites and went on Aiden Ross stream. He's compromised. Oh, okay. I mean, he also was really wanting to go on Ariel's stream. I don't like that about Guru. Not even that he went on Aiden Ross's stream. I never put two and two together. And Aiden Ross also seems to be the least. Aiden Ross is almost an anti, what? He does not co-sign, his group of people targeting another group of people. He actually speaks out against it. He's like the only one to do it. That's from that group of people. So I won't even get on Aiden Ross unless I should. But also Guru promoting gambling sites. Just to keep it a buck, it's like I promote a gambling site too, and I did not ask them, what their affiliations are. But I think they are more like Middle Eastern than anything else, to be honest. The guys I promote, the guys that I actually speak to, like behind Spartans, they're like Middle Eastern dudes. I speak to like 2 Middle Eastern dudes for Spartans, the gambling site that I promote. So I guess I'm on the good side of history if they're Middle Eastern dudes. Fuck gambling, I'm just the best. Yeah, Franklin, you the best, homie. You the fucking best. Lou AI goes, Ilia is now a global face with him saying he lost interest in MMA and only wants Islam. Do you think if he tells Dana, give me Islam or I vacate, do you think Dana will accept? Ilia now earns outside UFC. Lou AI, we actually see the sport very similar, bro. Back when Ilia beat Charles, that's his last fight. But after Ilia beat Charles, bro, I literally said that, like, you know, Ilia's not gonna be a good little boy anymore. Like, he calls the shots now. And I was almost gonna say that, like, he wouldn't have even had to fight like a Justin Gaethje. Back before all these things changed. But just so you get my point, it's like I do think Ilia like dictates a lot because of how much he makes. But AI, this is what I'll say to you. I'm not sure Ilia realizes his worth, to be honest with you. You say what you just said about Ilia. Ilia is now a global face. He now earns outside the UFC. With him saying he lost interest in MMA and only wants Islam, do you think if he tells Dana White, give me Islam or vacate, do you think Dana will accept it? I don't know if he knows his worth enough to make a proposal to Dana like that. Lou, we're on the same page, and I don't know how to like explain it to where you might feel like we're on the same page, but I know what you're trying to say. How big of a star Ilia is. He's basically the new Conor McGregor of the UFC. He's the biggest star. He's the cash cow. Okay, let's put it like that. The biggest star, the cash cow, he does have a say. He does not have to be a good little boy. He can listen, the UFC has to now listen to him. And with that being said, I don't know that Ilia knows his worth. I don't know. I mean, the things that he does, it makes me question whether or not he knows his worth. Especially with the lack of stars, Islam and Alex retiring soon, so they only have Hamza and Ilia. Does Ilia know his worth? That would be my question. I don't know. Aiden Ross might fiend objectively. Fiend, or I know what you're trying to say. Aiden might faint objectively just to be a Trojan horse to control narratives. Okay. That's one of the laws of power, is to almost like appear naive to gain the trust of your enemies. And then you stab them in the back. LMFAO says Franklin. Shout out Franklin. Give me Islam or vacate. He has to vacate to fight Islam. ... That is true. That is true. But I get the grander scale of things. Just does, essentially, can Ilia put his foot down and make demands? Well, he didn't do that. He could have done that just now. He could have said, nah, I don't want to fight Gaethje. I want to fight Islam. You don't want to give me money, then I'm going to just sit out. But he didn't do that. Also, I would say at first thought, it's like if he does choose to sit out, then TKO gets to avoid paying him. I don't know. I think he generates a lot more than what they would save from not paying him, though. Charles just walking into that pocket, though. Yeah, like a complete dumbass. But, what's his name? Ilia called it. He said Charles is just going to walk forward. He can't fight going backwards anyway. He's as tall as a good little boy. He's definitely the height of a little boy. That sounds crazy calling Ilia a little boy, because he's a fucking beast, bro. But yeah, he is tall as a little boy, I guess you could say. Him and Merab. I'm the best MMA fighter ever. I truly believe that. Franklin, you the best, homie. Franklin, you the best MMA fighter I ever feasted my eyes on, homie. I'm playing, homie. I'm playing. The world is Franklin's oyster. Whatever Franklin wants to do in this life, shit, I'm behind him 100%. Franklin wants to put 100,000 on red. You feel me? We put 100,000 on red. I'm rocking with Franklin till the wheels fall off. No, I don't think Ilia's dying to fight Islam right away. Don't forget it was announced they both vacated their belts on the same day. Not fair enough. And, part of that is why I say Tyler Betts. I'm not sure Ilia sees what we see yet. Not me and you, Tyler Betts, I guess what I see. I do see Ilia. Like when you say I don't think Ilia is dying to fight Islam right away. Like, I think Ilia should fight Islam right away. I think he should. The fact that Ilia doesn't think he should is the big question mark for me. That's what I was saying, 2 minutes ago. when I was like, I don't know if Ilia knows his worth or not. It's because of things like that. It's because he's not demanding the Islam fight, which is one of the reasons why I think he doesn't understand his worth. But, because I have thought about this, I do think that there's a little bit to this situation where the UFC was nice to Ilia. They allowed him to deal with his divorce without stripping him. They put the interim title fight on the line. And so, they did pull some strings for Ilia. The promotion did do that for him. And I think that Ilia maybe feels as though he owes them a little bit, so he's playing ball a little bit. But bro, once you beat, and then you're gonna beat Gaethje, so it's like the fans are gonna move the goalpost, and rightfully so because it's Gaethje. So his star power isn't gonna rise up anymore off of beating a Gaethje per se. Maybe because of UFC White House, but not really. Not really. And so yeah, I think that maybe he took the Gaethje fight because of how nice the UFC was to him during his divorce. How they let it play out. How they even didn't put Arman in there and they put Patty and Justin. Not that Ilia's scared of Arman, just that Arman doesn't really, or just that Ilia doesn't really want to fight Arman too much, for whatever reasons. But yeah, that's more of what I had to say. Ilia's still my son, little boy. Ilia can only really fight legends at this point. Yeah, that's what I think he should do. My other thing is Ilia should not just be fighting anyone. If Ilia is not the guy to fight the next one up. You know how some title contenders got to do that, right? Like Bilal had to fight JDM, right? This is not Ilia. This is not Ilia. Ilia is not going to be the guy just following along the UFC machine. He's going to get his big fights. And that's the main crux of what I've been trying to say for maybe 5 minutes now. Is that Ilia, he's not the guy to fight the next one up. Yes, he's doing this with Gaethje, but I think there's a special circumstance with this. And in the future, he should put his foot down and actually sit out. If that's the case. If the UFC is not going to give him his worth, he should put his foot down and actually sit out. Because honestly, I don't want to see Ilia just fight the next guy up after Justin Gaethje. Unless it's a big fight, unless it's a blockbuster fight that's going to bring in a lot of money, you just don't do that to him. You just don't do that to him. You're stepping over $1 for a nickel. You're retarded. What's popping, homie? Can't fight going backwards. Geez, that's like my talent. Yeah. I feel you. That's literally 50% of fighting. If I were Dana and I see Colby declining any prospect we offer him, I'd release him no matter where he goes. He is not going to sell out arenas. He is not Connor. Oh, yeah, that whole thing about selling out in Colby, long gone. Okay, we go in red. Let's go red, Franklin. I'm rocking with you, homie. Did you hear that Ewo, Barnowski or something might step in to fight Guskov? Yawns out on injury. No, I didn't hear anything about Ewo, but I mean, if he wants to step in, good, good on him. Good on him. It's just more so we're talking about Ewo and Guskov, Tony M. Crazy times we're living in, right? Crazy times we're living in when Tony M's like, did you hear about Ewo Barnowski is going to step in to fight Guskov? It's like, oh gosh. Talking about unranked guys going to headline UFC Baku. Talking about Mike Malott versus Gilbert Burns just concluded. I mean, oh gosh. What? Honestly, what did we wake up to? What the fuck have we found ourselves into? Oh my gosh. Talking about, did you hear that Ewo might step in to fight Guskov? It's honestly, I just want to troll it and be like, Tony, who the fuck are those people? Obviously I know who they are, but it's like, who do you think Ilia should fight after Justin other than Islam? The Paddy Pimblett fight is gone. Max Holloway lost his BMF belt to Charles Oliveira. If there's no Islam and Ilia's really about it, the only other option is Arman Sarukian gets his lightweight title shot against Ilia. I'm super doubtful that that'll happen, but I mean, come on, bro. If you're saying other than Islam MLE, then I gotta say Arman. Other than Islam, it's Arman at this point in time. You know, let's say Max Holloway beat Charles Oliveira. I would be saying Max Holloway rematch. BMF lightweight championship for both the belts this time at a real BMF weight. You know, BMF isn't contested at 45. Historically, BMF has been contested at 155 and 170. I don't make the rules. Don't get mad at me. Don't at me for that. I don't make the rules. But 145 is not a BMF weight. You know, that would have been the storyline. Both belts on the line this time at a BMF weight, right? So that's winnable for Ewo. Shout out to Tyler Betts and all the hardcores who even know Ewo's fighting style. I could barely even picture his damn face. Bernoski next up. I think I know who you're talking about. If you grow a painter mustache, I will donate $100 deadass no cap on a stack. Does it have to be like super? Does it have to be super narrow, Tux, or can I do a mustache? Tux, I will grow out a mustache for like 2 or 3 weeks if you donate $100. I'm not even kidding. I'm dead ass too. No cap on a stack. I don't think I could do the fucking that German painter's exact mustache if you grow a painter mustache. Are you on top chat again? Yeah, I am. It's like a default. Let me go live chat. I'm at live chat now. Champs refusing to fight the next guy up is part of what's killing the sport. Can't blame them for looking out for themselves, but the more things go this way, the less casual fans will tune in. It's true, Eric, but what I would just say to that, because you also say can't blame them for looking out for themselves, they wouldn't have to look out for themselves if the UFC did it, right? If the UFC compensated them properly, we could actually get them to take these fights. But the thing is it's such a world of difference for Ilia to fight in Islam than it is for Ilia to fight a Justin Gaethje, you know, or anybody else for that matter. You know, that's the problem with it. Yo, this dumb bitch is crazy. This dumb bitch is so crazy. She's gonna fucking bust through the top. She's gonna come falling through the roof one of these days. This dumbass bitch. So that's what I would say. You hear how annoying that is? 10 p.m. on the dot. This bitch is sitting on her bed. She's like, oh, it's 10 p.m. Time to knock. Time to knock, as if that's going to do anything. I don't know what you think that's going to do. I have no clue what you think that's going to do. Literally 10 p.m. on the dot. Yo, that's actually crazy. One second. Okay. All right, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. Man, we just got a crazy ass fucking bitch ass neighbor though. You know, that bitch is crazy. The amount of stomping is actually insane. Um Damn, she literally doing it in rhythm. Yeah, you guys see it. You guys see it. How often is she getting railed? By the sound of her attitude, bro, she ain't been railed in years, bro. Never. Not as hammer as homegirl. Bust through the bottom, turn down for what? Is she really banging or getting clapped? Bro, she's not she's too ugly to be getting clapped, bro. Too ugly to be getting clapped. She's banging. I couldn't imagine having to record music there. Would deadass have to go to my car? Yeah, she's crazy. Sorry, bro. G's native drum style. That shit's insane. She stopped as soon as he left. Weird. Hammer hands gotta chill the fuck. For real, bro, wild shit. Would suck to have to deal with that. Tag a peen on her door. Exactly. She knows what she's doing. Yeah, bro, she a bitch. You need me to rail her for you, bro? I mean, if you want to, Jew. If you want to. You want me to send you the Addy, homie? I mean, we got a bitch ass, bitch ass woman upstairs. That's all I could say. I might have to tip 200 tomorrow, 100 again for her sanity. Shit. Shout out to fucking Franklin. My man Franklin. I don't know what to say, Franklin. I don't know what to say. All I can say is thank you in advance. And no pressure, homie. No pressure. Just because you say that shit don't mean I'm necessarily counting on it. So, but much love to Franklin. Thank you in advance. AI goes, I think Hamzat is also in a place to call shots. The pay-per-view where Hamzat headlines is always the biggest pay-per-view of the year. You can think about last couple of years and it's always him. Send us a pic of her. I want to see if she bangable. I don't got a pic, bro. And honestly, I don't even want to snap one. But she's not, boys. She's not. I would tell you if she was. You know me, I would tell you if she was. Even if she was, I'll put it like this. She not even mid enough. She not even mid enough to be fuckable. All right, boys? You guys asking is she fuckable? She's not even mid enough to be. not even mid enough to be. Okay? Take one for the team and you'll get a mod wrench in return for clapping the neighbor's cheeks. Bro, I hate that bitch so much. She's in your live stream now watching and entertaining the stream her way. Okay. I read all the fucking responses about her. How old? She like looks she looks 50. She looks 50. To be honest, I think she's like 50. I think she's like 50. Yeah, I think she's like 50. Um okay, so, back to the whole UFC thing. Paramount. Here's one of the things I got for you guys. If you guys waited, well then good on you guys because I'm about to show you guys something. Okay? I'm about to show you guys something. Now just give me a second to find it. Hang on one second. I got to find it again. Unless it's in let me see. No, I don't know why it didn't say. Let me see. YouTuber exposes UFC. One second. Trying to find a YouTuber. You guys know that one YouTuber? Damn. Louis goes, Perry, maybe this will help you feel better about your neighborhood. In our neighborhood, we don't have Wi-Fi since November because of a gang of thieves, drug dealers stole all internet cables and police helped them. Damn, Lou. Damn. No, that does put it in perspective. And honestly, I've been trying to just like turn a blind eye to this for so long. I've been doing it. You'll see, I basically turn a blind eye. Like there's nothing I do about it. I don't do anything about it. But, I'm happy that I could do the streams every night, and I don't want to get evicted or none of that weird shit. So, that's where I'm at with it. I'm not trying to, believe me. She's the one who constantly has to escalate this beef by pounding on the floor. That's on her. There's nothing I can do about that. But to be honest with you, I do nothing to escalate the beef at all. Nothing. But let me find this clip real quick. YouTuber exposes UFC owned by Ari Emanuel or something like that. Let me see. No, I will find this. You just got to give me a second. I got to go to Tommy G. We're going to find this. This guy actually like did this whole story on the UFC and being owned by TKO and Ari Emanuel. His name is Ian Carroll. Okay, perfect. Ian Carroll. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Ian Carroll made this video about the UFC. Now, hopefully by me putting this on YouTube, they're not going to be super pissed about this. Ian Carroll, UFC owned. Okay, now some people think that this guy is like obviously, right? They're gonna paint him as a anti S word and say he's super racist. I don't know. Let's hear this though. He dropped a 5-minute video, right? Guess who owns the UFC? This guy Ian Carroll. So we've been speaking about the UFC, speaking about choosing to sell to Paramount. Paramount cutting Sean Strickland's press conference early. The lack of good quality fights in the main events. What else have we talked about so far, right? Ripping away Mike Malott's flag, not allowing flags in the octagon, right? The whole flag policy being implemented during the Ukraine WAR. So these are the things we're talking about. The two guys who own TKO happen to be, belonging to a certain group of people. All right, that's what I could say, right? That I don't want to be rude, so let me just say it like that, right? I know people say tiny hats, but that might be disrespectful, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. If you see through it, you see through it, but I'm tired of like this whole victim thing where it's like, oh, you like, listen, bro, this ain't about the people as a whole. This is about, the people within the group who are doing these bullshit things. And you got to call a spade a spade. If you like, you're not going to gaslight me into not calling out people from this group. It's true, bro. It's a common denominator all over the place. All over the place. And honestly, like I started off this stream, I'm not saying, right, that like the guys who own the UFC are doing this necessarily, but we're questioning it. So let's listen. Homie dropped a 5-minute, 17-second video exposing the UFC. Let's hear it. Wait, what the fuck? It's actually muted. Watch. If I take off the sound. Bro, I cannot turn off this. Guys, look at this. Look at this in real time. I'm taking off the sound. Look, the sound's muted, right? It's not muted anymore. I click play. It instantly mutes. You cannot play this video. You cannot play this video. What the fuck is going on right now? In real time. In real time, I can't play this video. What the hell? Hang on, let me try to play this. He posted on TikTok, that's why. What does that mean? Of course it is. Wait, hold on. Let me Google this. I'm gonna go to the same link on Facebook. Hang on, let me mute my mic real quick. Oh, no, wait, let me just play it.
I'm going to read very mainstream sources, and I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. And don't worry, it won't be hard to do. So in case we're...
Okay, but if YouTube's not gonna let me play this, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not, cause bro, they got this thing fucking doxed completely. Refresh, or is it because you are streaming? Let me try to do it one more time. Oh, you know what it might be? It might be because I'm not logged into Facebook. But no, look, it plays the video fully just with no audio.
It won't be hard to do. So in case we're not clear, we're talking about the UFC.
Okay. No, it's fine now. It's fine now. I don't know what happened. To be honest, I don't know what happened. I showed you guys in real time what was happening, so I don't know what happened to that. No, we're good. We're good. Let's play it.
UFC. You better buckle up for this. I'm just going to read very mainstream sources, and I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. And don't worry, it won't be hard to do. So in case we're not clear, we're talking about the UFC, the biggest mixed martial arts fighting promotion in the world. They're owned by TKO Group Holdings, which is owned by Endeavor Group Holdings. And the CEO of TKO Group is Ari Emanuel. And he is also the CEO of Endeavor, the bigger company, along with Patrick Whitesell, the executive chairman. But I guess his name is probably pronounced Ari Emanuel because it's Jewish, not Mexican. His father, Jerusalem-born Benjamin Emanuel, was a pediatrician who was in the Irgun, a Zionist paramilitary group that operated in mandatory Palestine during the 30s and 40s. And just to clarify, paramilitary group means terrorist organization. And just to clarify, that is not my definition or Hamas's definition or Palestinians' definitions. That is literally the Israeli government's definition. In 1948, they outlawed the Irgun and Lehi groups, declaring them terrorist organizations. Basically, everyone inside and outside of Jewish worlds called them terrorists and strongly condemned them. Here's a...
So Ari Emanuel's father is a you-know-what.
So anyways, his dad was a Zionist, condemned them. Here's a list of the bombings that they were responsible for. So anyways, his dad was a Zionist terrorist from back when Israel was being formed. And now he runs the UFC. Well, he owns the UFC. Dana White runs it. But that is just the start of this. Because he has two brothers. This one was Obama's White House chief of staff after years in senior positions in the Clinton administration. But there's another one. This one works at the Center for American Progress, the Wharton School, Harvard, and the NIH. But don't worry, the deep state is not real. Oh yeah, and President Joe Biden named him one of the 16 members of the COVID-19 advisory board.
APAC paying off in real time. If you guys know, you know. Anyone wondering, oh, why are they, why is Joe Biden, co-signing this guy? Why is this guy in Barack Obama's campaign? Why was he a part of the Clinton administration? Because of APAC. Because, they fund the fuck out of our politicians through APAC. And then, we go ahead and we hire them. If anyone's wondering, seems like they've had their hand in everything. Because they pay their way in as well, Space Kid. That's what I'm gathering. You say it seems like they've had their hand in everything. Because they pay their way into everything. And then they use their money to shape culture. Okay, if anyone is not super educated, that ain't no insult. Okay, I'm actually here to try to help this out. Okay, if you're not as educated or having a hard time understanding this stuff, what this dude is really trying to say, in my opinion, and honestly, I watched this video like 2.5 weeks ago. I haven't even watched this today before I hopped on stream. Maybe that's irresponsible. I don't know. I'll just admit it now if that's the case. But what I gather from this video is, this is what this dude is really trying to say, is that these people use their money, right, to influence culture and shape culture, right? That's essentially the crux of all of this. They use their money, they buy their ways in to these cultural phenomenons that exist in the US, particularly, meaning, what are these cultural phenomenons? Well, the UFC, fight culture, right? Politics, modeling, right? Beautiful women, right? Movies, music, right? These are things that shape culture, and these are things that these guys have paid their way into, right? And then they get on these boards, they get elected, they get co-signed, because without them, the leaders of the positions, aka Barack Obama and shit like that, he would have never been where he was if it wasn't for them funding him through AIPAC. If you get it, you get it. If not, I'm sorry. You just got to hear me out and just replay the stream tomorrow, listen to it right now, and then hear it again tomorrow, right? Maybe do some Google searches. But that's what this dude is trying to say. Playboy, right? You're going to realize that, like, these guys, they own all this shit. Mark Shapiro, right? The guy who I brought up, who is the COO of TKO, guess what he also owns? The Toronto Blue Jays. Okay. By the way, right? Let's not forget, what's his name? Mark Cuban. He's also from that select group of people. He has a certain last name, but he changed it to Cuban to fit in. But that dude also owns the Mavericks. That's just, I don't know what to make of that. But I'm just saying that dude, he's also from that select group of people. He owns the Mavericks. He changed his name to Cuban for some odd reason. Jonah Hill. I mean, now I'm going off the really common stuff. But Jonah Hill, you guys think that Hill is Jonah's last name or what? Newsflash, it ain't. It ain't his last name. They hide that shit. That's super fucking weird. That is super weird that they hide their last names to fit in. Yeah. So, I mean, shit, you tell me. I couldn't tell you, Space Kid. Maybe to fit in, maybe to deceive the public, right? Maybe to deceive people. Maybe that. Perry, do you think this has anything to do with Belal having to go through 10 win streak to smell the title shot, or is it just Dana hates decision machines? AI, that's the golden question. I've been wondering the answer to that question for so long, AI. I would just, that question is for Belal to answer, homie. Right? I would love to ask Belal that specific question. AI, I've been wondering that forever. People used to comment that all over my Instagram page, and I saw that narrative, and I'm like, damn. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. Let's put it like this, AI. I wouldn't put it past him. Can I say for certain? No. But I wouldn't put it past him, bro. Jonah Hill was a comedy staple of a lot of childhoods. He was in a lot of movies we weren't supposed to be watching. Yeah. And I see that kid Jaden Cable getting his ass torn to shreds right now by a lot of people. You're telling me Jamal Hill and Jonah Hill aren't related? Crazy, right, Deshaun? Ain't that crazy, homie? Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Okay, but back to this video, okay? I don't want to get too distracted. I just paused this video to tell you that, they buy their way into politics, music, movies, now the UFC, modeling, Playboy, you name it. Whatever shapes culture, they buy their way in. Then they get themselves at the top of these boards and they start constituting some change. I've always said it was fishy that Ariel Helwani is the #1 journalist in MMA. Where does he get all of his connections from? Right? Where did he get everything that he's got? Ariel Helwani is another one who just gets, boom, propped right up to the top instantly. It's like, damn. Come to find out his uncle is Gad Sad. Gad Sad admits that he was part of the MOS, MOSS AD. Israel Adesanya's Central Intelligence Agency. Again, we can piece things together for Ariel too. It's one of my favorite topics. Fun fact, AIPAC doesn't even rank among the 30 largest lobbying groups in the US. So, Eric, are you trying to say that they are not influential or something? What are you trying to say, homie? I can't even look that up, but I've done my research about APAC already. To know that they're they're the greatest funder. They're the greatest funder in the politics. I mean, I don't know if you're I can't really speak politics too heavily, so I don't even know how to like debate it necessarily. But I don't know if that's what Eric's trying to say or not. But APAC be donating more than any other group, so I don't know what to say about that. Ariel is so cute though. Yeah, he a little cutie, Franklin. Ariel a little cutie. AI says, by the way, Perry, huge respect to you because you speak what you think and you don't follow what a lot of creators like Guru do, hating on certain religions or races for the racist fan base attention. AI, homie, I know we might have got off to a rough start yesterday, right? But man, shout out to fucking AI. You a real one, homie. You a real one. We actually more aligned than you might have initially thought, and me too. But everything aside from our top 5 goats, I mean, bro, like your train of thinking is a lot of things that I've said. Like, I mean, the chat knows. The chat knows that I've said exactly this about Guru. I've literally called Guru out for this in the past. Like straight called him out for the exact thing you typed in the chat. So thank you for recognizing. I appreciate it. Yeah, bro, hit the nail in the coffin. Shout out fucking AI. He a real one. And you belong in this chat, homie, for sure. Not standing up for Ariel, but hasn't he been reporting MMA since the get-go? Yeah, Tony, but you think that Ariel was the first journalist to ever try his hand at it or what? Yeah, he'd been reporting it since the get-go. So were a lot of people reporting it from the get-go. Shout out Mad Squabbles, aka Luke Thomas. Luke Thomas was reporting it from the get-go. What happened to him? Yeah, Ariel been reporting from the get-go. But so were a lot of people, but Ariel's the one who made it to the top. Ariel's the one who got interviews with Dana White, found out where he was going to be at, showed up to the coffee shops. I know Ariel's story a little bit, but was that information fed to him or did he innocently get it? That would be my question. W. Perry. Why GD's claim GD's is in the gang? What's GDS? The old AI would never compliment me. No, never. The old AI. And look, speak of the devil. Just joining. I know this is going to be a boring ass live like always. AI, if you were standing right in front of me right now, I'd slap the fuck out of you. To be honest with you. I'd literally slap the fuck out of you. AI, if you were in front of me for days on end of negativity, it's cool. I don't even mind it, and I don't even care right now. But I would just slap the shit out of you, just for coming on every day with your negativity. I would literally slap the shit out of you if you were in front of me and you returned to my face, for the 30th day in a row with your negativity. I would literally just slap the shit out of you real quick. No response either. You would say what you just said, and you would just be greeted with a slap, and then I'd look at you. And then we'd continue with our day. You could continue talking shit. You might get slapped again, right? You might get slapped again. But, that's just the case there. Eric says, check the Discord if you can. YouTube won't let me explain myself. Okay. Because Eric said something about APAC ain't the biggest lobbying group, right? So let's see. Which... Did you a public threat or something? No. Stream updates? No. Fight pics? I don't see it. Eric, I don't see it. Did you put it in here on the Discord? Because I literally don't see it. Perry Talk? No, that's not it. Chat? Fight pics? Nah. I want to slap now, LMAO. These lives so good though, LMFAO. Fucking shout out to Franklin. AI2A, he not a man of taste, bro. He not a man of taste. I would hate to see how AI2A lives every day. You know, it's like if you don't like these streams, you literally not even a man of taste, bro. What do you like then? Yo, off topic, but Nick Diaz knows about Clav in his lore, LMAO. Yeah, how the fuck did you find out about that? Where was Nick talking about Clav? I remember during that Umar vs. Sandhagen card, Ariel was tweeting the whole night, glazing and congratulating every winner. When Umar fought and won, he went silent. I'm guessing because Umar speaks for Pal. Yep. Yep. I would guess so too, AI. Ariel, he a wolf in sheep's clothing, bro. Be careful about Ariel. He a wolf in sheep's clothing. He not gonna kill you, right? Like a wolf. He not really dangerous, like a badass dude. But he maniacal. He maniacal with it. You know, he not gonna kill you with the physicality. He's maniacal, bro. He's maniacal. Why do you think people call him out all the time for weaponizing his platform? It's what he does. Jew goes, that's why he always dissing. He's one of those people. Yeah, AI, one of those people. Okay, but we did a long pause. We are really here to listen to this dude break down the UFC, right? But again, man, talking about taste, your takes are garbage compared to mine. AI 2A. Couple more comments from you, and I'm gonna get real sassy. Hang on.
Dad was one of the 16 members of the COVID-19 advisory board. All three of those guys, their dad was an Israeli terrorist.
Wait a minute. Being a part of the COVID-19 advisory board is crazy. With your dad being a you know what is crazy.
Israeli government was an Israeli terrorist that even the Israeli government outlawed because their terrorist acts were so fucked up. Like bombing civilians. Literally. But wait, there's more. Because both Ari and his buddy Patrick, who are in charge of that other whole organization in charge of the UFC, they are also both in charge of IMG. They are co-CEOs. IMG is like a sports and media company. They have a whole entertainment and modeling division. Miss USA, Miss Universe. They have a whole entertainment and modeling division, including Miss Teen USA, Miss Universe.
But wait, IMG modeling Jeffrey Epp. Okay. So Epstein was involved with IMG. These guys own IMG.
Including Miss Teen USA, Miss Universe. What does that remind me of? Yeah, you remember Epstein's pimp, Jean-Luc Brunel, who hung himself right before Epstein was all coming out? He allegedly procured more than 1,000 women and girls for Epstein. One of IMG's top representatives described him as a coked out misogynistic pig from day one. Whew. Thank goodness. I'm glad that IMG is not involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, except for this article where a bunch of survivors told their stories, and this one said that she worked for IMG. She told IMG what he was doing to her over in France or wherever she was, and IMG was like, oh, that's cool, whatever, no problem. And then they continued to send girls to him. Yeah, so IMG, she was, and IMG.
This whole thing about
She told IMG what he was doing to her over in France or wherever she was.
Sorensen says she was staggered to discover the IMG continues sending young models to Brunel in Paris after that. She says this is why she feels it's important. She speaks out now because too many people are complicit. Top model abused by fashion agent Jean-Luc Brunel. This guy, Jean-Luc Brunel, I guess was bringing women to like Epstein or something.
And they continued to send girls to him. Yeah, so IMG worked with him. And IMG doesn't just do modeling. No, no, no. Here is all the sports leagues and events that they work with. There's the UFC. They do modeling, consulting, events, like the Premier League, the highest level of English football, like the PGA of America, like the United States Tennis Association. They've got figure skating. They got motorsports. Shit, they've even got the world's strongest man in the US Open of surfing. Are you getting the picture yet? These three brothers, whose dad was a Zionist terrorist, have been top dogs at the Clinton White House, the Obama White House, the Biden COVID response. They control the UFC, a huge amount of the modeling industry, a huge amount of the tennis, golf, all sorts of sports, soccer, rugby. There are quite literal ties to Epstein. And don't get me wrong, I love MMA. I love watching the UFC. But just think about culture. Think about gladiators. Think about Rome. Think about all the other industries we've recently learned have weird ties to sexual blackmail rings. Think about modeling. Think about how young boys and girls grow up in America. And if you're on TikTok, think about downloading this video right now, because it's not going to last very long. And when it goes away, you can find it on the other platforms. Yeah, so that's who owns the UFC.
I just was confused a little bit about this IMG thing. I just want to come back to it.
Civilians. Literally. But wait! There's more! Because both Ari and his buddy Patrick, who are in charge of that other whole organization in charge of the UFC, they are also both in charge of IMG. They are co-CEOs. IMG is like a sports and media company. They have a whole entertainment and modeling division, including Miss Teen USA, Miss Universe. What does that remind me of? Yeah, you remember Epstein's pimp, Jean-Luc Brunel, who hung himself right before?
So I don't know. He's not saying something, and I'm not fully getting. I'm not super tapped into Epstein, but I guess I don't know. Epstein had something to do with the modeling agencies. I know that much, but I don't know. I got enough of this though. I did get enough of it, and that's just why I wanted to show you guys. Plot twist: he's a. Don't tell me that, Jew. Please don't tell me that. Louis I goes, or no, MLE says, you should partner up with MMA Joey and stream together on these topics. Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad idea. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Shout out to MLE. Maybe we could see what we could do. Honestly, I don't even know how to get in contact with MMA Joey. I could DM him. Lou goes, I agree with MLE. Both Joey and Kenny Okoye have takes very similar too, and they always speak against the racist fan base. What you guys can do to help that out though is you guys can also go into Joey's chat and inform him about me, right? Word of mouth is one of the best ways that you guys can kind of help, better this channel by getting collabs with other content creators. Number one, and two, you guys could definitely help me get interviews. And then, you guys are the ones who benefit from it. You guys, the content is for you guys. It's not for me. I obviously like making the content and doing the content, but I'm making the content for you guys. So if you guys can help me make more content for you, right? It's just like a recycling circle. Like we're just going to keep helping out each, you're going to help me, and in return, you're going to get the interviews and the content you're asking for. So yeah, just not to say like you guys got to do this crazy thing, but just, drop it in there. You go in MMA Joey's chat, he's speaking about this stuff. Be like, yo, Perry Punch, he speaks a lot about this, would you be interested in doing some content with him? Just like you guys do this here. Joey is a grifter with no backbone. No, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Joey do be grifting sometimes. So that's what would make it interesting is I feel like I'm super authentic with it. I'm not here like that. you know, it's not a part of my DNA, bro. Like I cannot grift with things. I can only speak how I truly see things. And you know, whether or not I'm getting gaslit for it, I'll accept it. You know, I think a lot of these guys, that's why they grift though, because they don't like getting gaslit. They can't stand on, you know, their own belief. I can. I can. And I'll do it with Joey. Oh, Eric says he sent the message. Dude, nobody wants to collab with you. Okay, AI2A. Okay, so Eric said this: APAC spending isn't even in the billions. They pale in comparison to lobbying groups in big tech and big pharma, two industries heavily influenced by the CCP, the group who basically owns TikTok. CCP is China, right? Through ByteDance and was behind the anti-Israel propaganda campaign since October 7th. Not saying I'm a fan of Israel, but there's a larger enemy at play. Um, I'll have to take a look at this. So if you want to collab with MMA Joe, you have to reach out to him. He never reaches out to anyone. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'd rather have Jade and Cable on right now, though, to be honest. I think we got more to talk about. Jade and Cable's being canceled for being a part of this group of people. I would love to do the interview with Jade and Cable right now. Does anybody have any thoughts on this thought from Eric? You know, I have heard things like this in the past. Let's look up each of these things that Eric's speaking about. CCP. What is the CCP? CCP most commonly refers to the Chinese Communist Party, founding and ruling political party of the People's Republic of China since 1949. It is also used to mean cyclical citrullinated Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so it's the Chinese Communist Party. Now let's look at ByteDance, right? ByteDance is a Beijing-based Chinese internet technology company founded in 2012 by Zhang as the parent company of TikTok and its Chinese equivalent Douyin. It is a global leader in AI-driven content platforms. It also owns Taotiao. So basically, Eric says big tech and big pharma fund the lobbying groups more than APAC. I don't know. Is that true? And then big tech and big pharma is funded by the CCP. So there's like the CCP essentially. And then there's like APAC, the group who basically owns TikTok through ByteDance. Yeah, we just found that out. And was behind the anti-propaganda campaign since October 7th. Okay. ByteDance anti I just hope that you're using these words responsibly, Eric. Like when you say propaganda campaign, you know what you're implying when you say that, right? You feel me, homie? I hope that you are using these words responsibly and that, like, is it proven to be propaganda? Can you explain how it's propaganda? You know, like, because when I tell you guys about propaganda, I explain to you why it's propaganda. You know, I explain to you why, you know, this is the propaganda and this is what they're trying to distract you from. This is the real truth. This is the propaganda. So I just want to know, like, can you explain what the propaganda is? Because I don't like, you know, you guys know me. I'm very authentic when it comes to this stuff. I'm very thorough. So, you know, if you're calling it a propaganda campaign, I mean, that's insinuating that it's disingenuous, right? That they were going at this group disingenuously, making up lies. Can I hear about some of these lies? Concerns regarding ByteDance and anti-content on TikTok center on allegations that the platform's algorithm amplified pro-Palestine anti-Israel and anti-Sem content following the October 23 conflict, a claim TikTok has denied. Critics, including U.S. lawmakers, argued that the high volume of such content, especially among young users, amounted to propaganda or brainwashing. Well, of course, U.S. lawmakers are going to say that. They're directly in bed with fucking, you know who. We don't know who to trust. To be honest with you, we don't know who to trust. I mean, you can't just take the word of the U.S. lawmakers, bro. We all know by now. You cannot just take their word. If they said it, that's the truth. I mean, do you do that with Dana White? I hope not. That's like being like, Dana White said this, so it's true. Like, I don't know about that. Showing a certain, but I see what you're saying. Pro-Pal, anti-Is, anti-Sem content getting pushed. I mean, if that's true, then that obviously is. But I mean, that's not good, right? That's not good. If that's the case, but I don't know if it's the case. You know, this isn't the same thing as Mark Zuckerberg going on Joe Rogan and admitting that that is exactly what they did and that the government contacted him and asked him to suppress stories that are anti-Cove, right? And push pro-Cove stories. Do an interview. Shut the fuck up, homie. See what I mean? Like, get your bitch ass out of here. We don't even want you in here. We got a new AI already. He replaced your bitch ass. Just please shut the fuck up and don't even comment in the stream. You know, it was endearing a little bit, but honestly, I'm gonna let you know straight out, we don't fuck with you. We don't fuck with you. I know some people do, but honestly, right now, you just got me annoyed. So like, suck my dick. Okay, we done replaced you. And you know, whether or not you want to be in this stream or not, I could care less. You know, actually, I'll probably start reading your chats a bit less just because you annoy the fuck out of me. And I actually feel a little bit bad for you that you still continue to come in these streams and then you talk your shit. It's super funny to me. You know, it just paints a sad picture of who you are as an individual, you know, where in whatever little, you know, crack house you came out of, right? It just shows more of a picture of you than anything else. That you and your little dark life, you come in this chat day after day, talk shit, but you like me so much you can't help it but tune in. But you also so bitter you just like to talk your shit, and it's fine. It's fine. But don't get upset now, you know, when you just get straight berated. You know what I mean? And I call the spade. I straight call the spade. You feel me? That's what I got to say to you, homie. It says way more about you than it does about me. You ain't saying much about me at all, but it just says a lot about you. You know, I feel bad for you. I straight feel bad for you. You be coming in these streams every night. You literally cannot even help it. You love the content I give you, but you just got to talk a little shit. And it's fine to talk a little shit. You know, now I'm going to talk some shit back to you though. And, you know, that's just how it is, AI. We don't fuck with you. You've been replaced. You're a confirmed bird brain in the chat, you know, and that's pretty much it. Bro, why you even respond to this troll, Castro? You're giving him exactly what he wants. Flores, I couldn't fucking help myself, homie. I literally just snapped. So, I mean, what do you want from me, Flores? The fuck you want from me, Flores? I had no control over that. I saw AI2A's chat and it just pissed me off, bro. Just this dumbass motherfucker asking me to interview him and weird ass goofy shit. I just had to tell him to shut the fuck up for the one time. You know, crack house you came from. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say something worse than that, but I just decided to call it a house. But the truth is, I'm sure AI2A's mom's a crack addict, you know? I'm sure AI2A's mom is a crack addict. So I'm sure that's the pussy came out of, which is exactly why he lives the little dark life he lives. So AI2A, you know, that's all I got to say to you. That's all I got to say to you. Your mom's a crack whore, homie. That's all I got to say to you. There, we said it. We said it. We said it. So get your little crackhead out the stream. How about that? Get your little crackhead out the stream. You and your crackhead ass, you know, hit the road, homie. Hit the fucking road. We don't give a fuck about you. Honestly. We don't give a fuck about you. Take your crackhead ass. Hit the road. You know, you little fucking crackhead. That's what I got to say to you. Hey, Nick, go kick it with Nick Diaz and K. You know, with your crackhead ass. Yeah, go hit your pipe. Go smoke some rock, homie. Anyway, anyway, back to the conversation at hand though. This whole political campaign thing. I just want to say that until somebody confirms it, we cannot call it propaganda. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, he did admit snapping is the best. Wish I was 30 again. Good thing I'm not 30 yet. I'm still 29, so all the more reason to snap while I still can. Jew goes, his alts got hit with the 24-hour timeout yesterday, so they might not even be ready yet. Perfect. Shout out to fucking Jew. Fuck that guy. Bro, I'm crying. Bro, it's just like, you really want me to go there? Like, I really try not to go into my bag of disrespect. But it's like, I mean, you guys should know by now. It's like, you know, I mean, AI2A probably didn't know. But it's like, I actually do be tamed. A lot of you guys probably think I'm just like this loose cannon. It's like what you just heard from me talking to AI, that's really, you know, the loose cannon. That's completely untamed. But yeah, believe it or not, I actually do keep it a bit tamed. RIP AI2A, straight bodied him, walked his ass down. Go bail out Martin Sano AI2A. He don't got the bread for that. He a crackhead and his mom's a crack whore. All right, that's the last I'm gonna say it. That's the last I'm gonna say it. Erico sent you one more message. I could go on a whole tangent about it, but there's no time for it. No, Eric, I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna read it. And I hope you know, like, all I'm interested in is the truth. I just like to be authentic with everything. Okay, so Eric goes, AIPAC doesn't have to spend much in lobbying because most politicians are already in line with AIPAC's agenda. You don't have to like is or what they stand for, but there's truth is that our economy primarily relies on Middle Eastern oil. Look up the petrodollar. If the US wants control of the oil economy, they need is aid. The CCP understands that and has done everything they can to influence Americans against is and against any war efforts in the Middle East. Interesting. I can't put it into words, but I think this is the same reason why everybody thinks it's so political when I spoke about that wrestler who got killed. You know, everybody said, "Oh, that wrestler who got killed, that's anti is propaganda or something like that." It's a weird thing that's at play. I mean, what it seems like to me is you got two propaganda machines, bro. You know, I know that Eric wants to say that APAC is just clean and dry. You know, they're just wiping their hands clean and dry. But Eric, I would challenge you to consider the fact that APAC and CCP are deploying, you know, opposite plans right now. You know, I would say that APAC probably isn't above what the CCP is doing. You know, and you say like CCP, you know, is trying to influence Americans, but you don't think APAC uses their agenda to influence Americans? In my opinion, Eric, you know, I'm not going to deny what you're saying about what about the CCP, but I'm also not going to take away what I've been claiming about APAC and shit like that. Like in my opinion, you know, they're both doing it. They're both doing it. APAC is using their agenda to influence Americans, and CCP is countering that with the counter message to influence Americans too. It's a pro-Israel agenda, and it's a, you know, anti-Israel agenda, to be completely honest with you. And you would be kind of mistaken, right? You would be kind of mistaken to think that APAC isn't trying to, you know, deploy that pro-Israel agenda. It's literally who they are. CCP is much better at propaganda than APAC. So okay, so how many people from like the CCP, so to speak, um are in government politics? That would be my next question. And if you can deliver me some of these answers, I'm willing to listen, but I do have to present the other side to these things. And I would just say that if CCP is much better at propaganda than APAC, then like, is there, who from the CCP has swindled their way into politics? Can we speak about somebody who was a part of, Donald Trump's campaign or somebody else's campaign? And just as I'm speaking about that, it's just coming to the forefront of like, well, of course they're not going to be allowed in politics because, our government is bought by Israel because, we're in bed with them. So, of course we are going to bring more of them into the office, um, than people from the CCP because we are not in alliance with China, right? We're in alliance with Israel. So CCP is probably not going to be getting in office and being a part of the Obama administration and the COVID-19, whatever the case, and the Clinton administration, right? CCP is not gonna, but APAC is. So I just want to know, with CCP, are they able to, like, yeah, sure, they influence through TikTok, but Zuckerberg influenced through Instagram and Facebook. And I don't know. It's a complicated matter, to be honest with you. Perry, do you think Movsar was pressured by UFC to not wrestle in that Lerone fight? Mokaev exposed they didn't let him wrestle and they fired him for that. Oh. Yeah, I don't think that he was given an ultimatum. Look at your sad, sorry ass. Look at your sad, sorry ass coming in here with a new fucking alt. Again, just feel sorry for you. The state of you, homie. The state of you is very sad. Just feel bad for you. Couldn't imagine the life you live, homie. Don't know what to tell you. Conspiracy. Yeah, I mean, what you guys think? What you guys think? LMAO. Yeah, shout out to Jew. Just embarrassing. It's just literally embarrassing. Dude, like, I mean, not how pathetic can you be? Keep making ults and crying in someone's chat the whole time, the whole fucking time. The whole time, day after day, too. Talk shit, but then he always tunes in. Has to make ults. It's like, bro, it's literally, I had to say it. It was the truth. I was holding it in. But it's like, I actually do feel bad for the guy. But it's like, bro, leave me the fuck alone. Stop putting stupid shit in the chat, asking me to interview you. Like, who the fuck are you? The champ is back. Shout out Bloodhound. I know you fuck with him. And honestly, he could be in here. It's fine. It is what it is. But, if Jew wants, I'm gonna just leave it up to Jew. Shit, I'm gonna just leave it up to Jew. I co-sign whatever the fuck Jew says. Any of the mods. You want to kick him, you want to keep him, I co-sign whatever you guys want. There are no clean hands, just two empires in a cold war. Okay, Eric. All right. All right. So Eric, we're on the same page, low key. We are. We on the same page. I would just personally, Eric, I would just like for somebody to get confirmation that ByteDance did this to TikTok because ByteDance is actually denying it, ByteDance is denying it. And then, Facebook, aka Mark Zuckerberg, he admitted to it. So I would like to see if somebody can get ByteDance to admit to this shit. Zuckerberg literally said he was approached by, the Trump or I think it was the Biden administration to suppress anti-COVID stories. How does closing the Strait of Hormuz help us control the oil markets? Well, I don't know. I listened to what's his name? I listened to Nick Fuentes. I don't know. You guys are probably, I know that he's people don't like him. Please answer that. I don't know if I have that answer for you, Tux, but what Nick Fuentes says is there was no nuclear threat in Iran. It's cap. There was no nuclear threat. There was no missile. There was none of that. You know, that's what Nick Fuentes says. And that is who I get my news from. He seems like chill troll. LMAO. Barely know him though. He's all right. He's not the worst troll in the world. He just annoys me though. I love Nick Fuentes. Yeah, me too. I think he's great. I think he's great. He reminds me of myself. That's why I like to watch him. Definitely no clean hands. Yeah. Yeah. Tux goes, I'm saying closing the Strait of Hormuz doesn't help control the oil markets. Honestly, I don't even know what the Strait of Hormuz is. Should we Google that? What's the Strait of Hormuz? Oh shit, we've been live for like 2 hours almost. Facts. Nick is solid. Nick? Who the fuck is Nick? Oh, my bad. Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes. I'm glad you guys fuck with Nick Fuentes too. What's crazy is that America First. It's literally in the name. It's literally in the name. America First, right? That's the name of Nick Fuentes' live stream every night. He goes, "Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. I'm your host, Nick Fuentes," right? But America First, the character in the chat, would rather watch Candace Owens than Mr. America First himself, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes also hates Candace Owens. But I just find the irony, you know, homie America First in the chat, he doesn't actually watch Mr. America First. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow, vital waterway separating Iran from Oman and the UAE, connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. What the fuck does that mean? It serves as the world's most critical oil It serves as the world's most critical oil transit choke point, with roughly 20% of global oil and LNG shipments passing through it, often million barrels daily, making it central to global energy security. I'm gonna listen to more Nick Fuentes, and I'll get back to you guys on this. I actually haven't been listening to Nick over the last like month or so. Probably been listening to like one episode a day. If anyone wants to explain this to me, I'm all ears. If you can just dumb it down for me. I'm not American, but I can only imagine American are furious seeing their tax money go to another country in an unneeded war. If that's what to call it. No, Americans are pissed about that. And we're also pissed about our soldiers, you know, getting their lives risked on behalf of another country. You know, we don't like our soldiers. If that, you know, I always use this example. Do you want your sons and daughters, you know, going and fighting this war in Iran on behalf of Israel? Is that what you want? You know? Again, I don't know a lot of this stuff to speak on it too heavily, so I should really bite my tongue. I should really bite my tongue if I'm being honest. Oh, Franklin goes, they don't care. I mean, I care more about the soldiers. I don't want our soldiers being in a war they don't need to be fighting. That's what I care about. I don't want our soldiers losing their lives, our people losing their lives, you know, in a war that we don't belong in. If we don't belong in this war, that's my biggest gripe. The tax dollars, yeah, that's not a good thing, but I care more about our soldiers' lives than anything else. And I don't want us, you know, if my son was fighting a war, you know, that we shouldn't be in, I would be sick to my stomach every night. The tax dollars, yeah, it's not a good thing, but I do put more emphasis on the soldiers. Because Franklin says they don't care about the taxes. I don't care about the taxes. I care about the soldiers. Whether or not they're fighting a war they should be in, risking their lives necessarily. If they're unnecessarily risking their lives, I don't support it. And notice I don't know the answer to that, but just know where I stand. If they're unnecessarily risking their lives, I don't support it. I don't respect it. Wasn't it funny how Dana always says free speech and shit, but when Bryce Mitchell had those Butler comments, Dana almost had an aneurysm. Yeah, because when you speak about certain people, that's when shit hits the fan, Bloodhound Lil Jeff. You could say the N-word all you want, being white, right? Sean Strickland. Because there's, to take the words out of Joaquin Buckley's mouth, the UFC is not going to do anything unless you speak about a certain group of people. These are words that Joaquin said. He said that Sean Strickland and Marvin Vettori and Conor McGregor all feel comfortable dropping the N-word, right? Being UFC fighters because the UFC is not going to speak out unless you speak about certain groups of people. Well, just tell me, right? Tell me the one time the UFC spoke out when a fighter went at a certain group of people. Could you tell me? I don't want to spoil it. Eric says Iran is one of China's biggest oil suppliers. It's why the US is blockading it to make sure Chinese ships are being allowed through. Okay, thank you, Eric. I'm gonna do more research, but this is great context for me to just take with me. I can't come up with the take yet, but I'm hearing you. Iran is one of China's biggest oil suppliers. It's why the US is blockading it to make sure Chinese ships are being allowed through. You mean aren't being allowed through? You got to watch Chris Norland if you want the Trump Iran news. Okay. I'll bookmark it. I'll just type it in right here. Does he deliver the news in an exciting way for me, HT? Because Nick Fuentes does. Nick Fuentes, he keeps my short attention span locked in the whole time. Okay, I got this guy right here. I'll just save it. You think Theo Vaughn banging Candace Owens? They pretty close. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past Theo Vaughn. Honestly, Tyler Betts, I never even thought about that, but Theo Vaughn does strike me as the kind of guy who would be banging Candace Owens. Low key. Anyone heard of Meet Kevin? No. Franklin says dumbass war though, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's a dumbass war. Who the fuck was the APAC guy in chat? That's Eric. Eric Gould, Tux. That's the one who's speaking about APAC and CCP being the primary donor to our lobbyists. CCP is the primary donor to our lobbyists, not APAC. That's according to Eric. I got to confirm that. I mean, we could Google that. We could Google that. Let me see how Eric worded it. Okay, lobbying groups. Who are the biggest lobbying groups in US politics? Yeah, Buck's a wise man. He knows. Yeah, Space Kid. Come on. But, that's a funny thing, too. People I mean, like, Buck is actually, like, come on, guys. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if I've said this before, but it's like, guys, you guys know me by now. You guys know me by now. You guys really think I would take that much of a liking to Joaquin if he was just like a complete airhead all the time and like, and he wasn't a good fighter? Like, you guys know me. At this point, you guys know me. And I know a lot of people get on me for showing Joaquin a lot of love, but just ask yourself this question. Like, you really think that, like, I would give Buck this big ass cosign if he didn't deserve it? Like, if he was this shitty fighter, if he was this dumbass, like, homie speaks a lot of facts, low key, and he's not afraid to say it, and I respect it. Sometimes he's wrong, sometimes he's wrong, and sometimes we disagree. But I mean, at least he's willing to put his opinion out there. Eric says, meant to say aren't. Yeah, I got you. I figured. Is Eric the APAC guy? The fuck you mean APAC guy? The pro APAC guy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, let me. You guys kill me. All right, let me regather myself. Let me regather myself. Oh my gosh. LMAO, an APAC account was donating Guru money a while back, donating, talking about here's your payment. Eric says, I'm no fan of APAC, but I'm also not being finessed into supporting CCP agendas. Nah, that's fair. And I don't want to be finessed into that either, Eric. So I'm going to find out. I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of this. I think that is part of it, though. I think that is part of it. And like I said, I can't figure out how to explain it yet, but there's this weird thing going on. And I spoke about it when I was speaking about that wrestler who got killed in Iran. And people were making it really political. And I was like, bro, you guys are like brainwashed by these politics. But I think they were speaking more on that CCP side that Eric's speaking about. I mean, I have to like think deeply about it, but does that coincide? Would the CCP be trying to, get us to be against the Iran war, to be against Israel? That's what you're saying, right, Eric? Because that's what people were saying when I was getting on Iran for killing one of their wrestlers, for protesting against the Iran regime, whatever you want to call it. People were saying you're falling for propaganda. You're falling for propaganda. So if they're saying you were falling for propaganda, what was I falling for exactly? CCP's propaganda? Couldn't be AIPAC's propaganda, because I was left being upset with Israel for getting us in this war. So I don't know. CCP is your enemy. Whether you think they are or not. CCP most likely is our enemy. They be buying up all that farmland around our, like, I know the stories a little bit. Perry, UFC question. How do you think every champ does against the champ up a weight class? Okay, let's go over it. Oh, Franklin goes, Buck is dope. I don't like him censoring words, but hope he shows out against homie. Shout out to Franklin. Hey, you don't got to agree with everything. You don't got to agree with everything he says, but I'm glad that you think he's dope. And that I'm glad to hear you rooting for him too. AI or Tux goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Ah, that's a good saying. If the CCP is Israel Adesanya's enemy, then that's our homie. That's what Tux is saying. How does it benefit us if China can't get oil? They manufacture all our products. Our economies are symbiotically intertwined. Would you guys honestly, Tux and Eric, just go at it right now in the chat? I mean, you guys just take over this debate. You guys seem to be on two sides. I want to hear it play out. You guys want to hop in a Discord call? I'll just let you guys debate on stream. I'm playing. That could get a little dicey. Flores, you loving this stream or what, homie? You tapped in tonight. You couldn't have clicked on this thumbnail any faster, huh, Flo? I don't know if you just be watching in silence a lot of these nights. I see you in here from time to time. But you like this topic or what? Seems like Flo likes this topic. The problem is that a lot of this stuff is not actually proven, just narratives both sides run with to support their agenda. And Flo, that's why I'm kind of calling for, like, we need to prove this stuff. And I'm trying to point out that, like, just because people are saying that CCP use TikTok as propaganda, like, until someone admits to it, like Zuckerberg did to Joe Rogan, it's not fully proven. It's not fully proven. So I am with you, homie. Like, and I'm more into the facts, and then, I'm with you, Flo. I'm with you. And maybe that's why you like listening to me, because I view things in a fair way like you're trying to do. So, we both trying to just find the fair, answer to things. It's not about anything else. I could care less. I actually belong to no side. If the CCP economy suffers, our economy suffers. Okay. Eric cannot fuck with me. How does it benefit us if China can't get oil? They manufacture all our products. Our economies are symbiotically intertwined. No, that's interesting, Tux. That's interesting that you say that because it is true. They do manufacture all our products, and we are kind of intertwined. By taking away their oil, we take away their abilities to manufacture, right? Which creates a supply shortage in the US. We wouldn't want that. You're right. You're right. This is chess, not checkers. Oh, we're going to get pounding again. Just get ready for it. I can already hear it. Just get ready for it. Maybe not yet. I just know the world evil, man. I guess they argue about who more evil. I don't know. CCP never admitted to the pandemic, but we all know what was going on those labs. I mean, that is true. Not to say that it's a fact, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I hear everything too, Eric. They say it was created in a lab in China. Have a good night/day, everyone. AI, let me do your thing real quick before you get out of here. You said the champ's up a weight class, right? 125. How does Joshua Van do against Peter Yan? I think Peter Yan. Oh, that's a solid scrap, bro. Two street dudes. Two street dudes essentially. I like that fight. I'm gonna go Peter Yan though. AI. And then if we go Peter Yan against Volkanovski, I'm going Volkanovski. We go Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. We take an Ilia. We already know how that goes. We go Ilia versus Islam. I'm taking Ilia. I told you guys that already. We go Islam versus Hamzat. Oof. Oof. That's actually a great fight. We're getting held back on two great super fights. Three. Joshua Van versus Peter Yan, that's bottom tier. Then we got Ilia versus Islam. That's top tier. Then we got Islam versus Hamzat, bro. Now, Islam's going to be pretty undersized in that one, but that's still a good fight. I'm going to take Hamzat. And then Hamzat versus Carlos Olberg. I'm going to take Hamzat. And then if we go Olberg versus Tom Aspinall. Crazy to say, but I'm going to go no, I'm going to go Aspinall. I'm going to go Aspinall. How did China benefit from the Kung flu? It was a Fauci lab. Tux, can you explain that? Wait, Tux, please explain that. No fucking joke. Please explain that. Fuck your vax. Yeah, Franklin, fuck the vax. You heard the TikTok For You page here is just brain rot, and the For You page in China is all knowledge shit. I did hear about that. My TikTok For You page is all fucking flaming hot mitts. You know that dude? The streamer, Flame? Every time I go to TikTok I don't even scroll TikTok, but I go to TikTok to post something, and it goes to the Explore page first, and a new video of Flame is always at the top. It's probably why it's always at the top, because I just don't watch. I've never curated my TikTok Explore page, believe it or not. I've never curated it. Meaning, like, I've never sat on TikTok and scrolled in my life. Can you guys believe that? I've never doom scrolled on TikTok. I go on there only to post. I do not use it for social media purposes at all. I mean, I scroll reels on Instagram, but not TikTok. Jan versus Van would be super fun. Yeah, that'd be super fun. It's crazy that that's the lowest tier, though, And Islam versus Hamza, Ilia versus Islam, those are take my money. How did China benefit from the Kung flu? It was a Fauci lab. It was a lab in China, but it was not China's lab. Do tell more. Do tell more, Tux. Come on, I'm following. Shit, homie just leaking out the information. Like, you got me at the edge of my seat right now. Okay. If it was a lab in China, but not China's lab, can you just tell me, like, what? Please just tell me. Please just tell me in the most simple terms possible. Fauci was renting out a lab over there or something, and it's connected to him, and there's a receipt to prove it. Like, please tell me. Flo goes, it's too easy for people to choose a side nowadays and start using headlines for confirmation bias when a lot of times we have no fucking clue what's really happening, only what we are told. Kind of true, Flores, kind of true, but I would say that trust your discernment a little bit. It seems like, there's a lack of trust for your, not for your own discernment. I won't speak for you, but I'm just saying that we have no fucking clue what's really happening, only what we are told, and that's why you got to use your discernment and trust it a little bit. Because we do have no clue what's really happening, only what we're being told. It's been proven before that we've been lied to. So it's only fair that we can operate suspiciously of them, and we can always speculate whether or not they're lying because they have a history of it, Flores. So that's why I'm saying, don't just completely throw away your discernment because you have no fucking clue what's really happening. You can still try to figure it out. You can still try to figure it out without necessarily pinning it. Just try to figure it out though. Ask the questions. Yeah, I made a spicy headline today. I can admit that. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it fucking is. Like, so what? I made a spicy headline. In this stream, did I fully condemn them or did I say over and over again? I don't know. But here are some things. Here are some suspicious things. I don't know, but this could be at play. Right? So I think as long as you operate on that basis, admitting when you don't know something, but just saying, hey, this is kind of interesting. I think maybe we should pay attention. This is worth paying attention to, worth listening to. I think that's totally fine. And to be honest, yeah, like the whole choose a side thing, it's not about choosing sides, bro. I mean, it is about choosing sides, but it's a fine line. It's a fine line when it comes to choosing sides. You should really search for the answer, and then in the answer is the side you should fall on. If that makes sense to you guys, you should search for the truth. You should search for the answer, and then, figure out what side to fall on. That's the main thing. It's not about picking a side. It's about coming to a conclusion of what really happened. And you got to ask questions. You can't just trust what they tell you. So moving on. Franklin goes, Islam Hamza. Oh, wow. Literally never thought. LMAO. Weight class, obviously decisive for that fight. Yeah. I would go Hamza, but Islam moving up 2 weight classes. Hamza at 170, Islam at 170. That'd be good money though. Eric says, sent you one more Discord message before I call tonight. Okay, I'm gonna read it. Tux goes, Fauci was funding the Wuhan's Institute of Virology, Virology through EcoHealth to investigate gain of function research on novel coronaviruses. Okay. Okay. And what's gain of function? Because I've heard that term used a lot. What is gain of function? Gain of function research is medical research that genetically alters an organism in a way that may enhance the biological functions of gene products. This may include an altered pathogenesis, transmittability, or host range, i.e., the types of hosts that a microorganism can infect. This research is intended to reveal targets to better predict emerging infectious disease and to develop vaccines and therapeutics. Oh my gosh. So what Tux is saying is that essentially, I might botch this a little bit, but the point stands. Tux is saying that Fauci, investigated gain of function research and basically created the virus, right? So that he could deploy out the vaccine and make millions of dollars. And I think that a book's been written about this. Fauci also did the same thing with AIDS, I heard. I haven't researched it fully, but I know that Fauci, something about he did the same thing, the same playbook with AIDS a while ago. Something. I know that Fauci got another controversy with AIDS, bro. But yeah, so what people think is that Fauci created this virus so that he could deploy the vaccine and make millions of dollars. That's a very common perspective. And I mean, when you find out what was in that vaccine, mercury, one of the most toxic chemicals, on Earth, it's like, what were they doing? You see the amount of strokes that upticked. You see the amount of childbirths with autism. People don't like to hear this stuff, right? I'm about to piss somebody off, but it's like, you guys really think those vaccines really did it for you? Uptick in autistic births, uptick in strokes. Just got here. Population control trial on the people. Part of the control system do not get the vaccine. I mean, buyer seller just stepping into the arena, and he right on the same page as us. Flo goes, I just don't speak in absolutes like a lot of people do when a lot of this is speculation. You're right. You can make an educated guess, but speaking absolutely is dangerous. People are easily persuaded. Honestly, Flo, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I don't think tonight I've spoken in any absolutes. Maybe I have by mistake, but you know, if I have, then that would be my bad. You should only speak on an absolute if it's been a proven fact. If it hasn't been a proven fact, you shouldn't speak on an absolute, right? And that's what I was pointing out to Eric. I was saying, like, you're speaking about TikTok, you know, in the CCP propaganda, etc. But is that proven? If it's not proven, we can't speak it as an absolute. Yeah, it's a theory, but it's not an absolute. TikTok and CCP has not been 100% guaranteed, you know, changing our explore feeds to, you know, pro-pal, anti-is propaganda. Unless, you know, somebody wants to admit to it, it's not a fact. Yeah, we could speculate, but it's not a fact. Cannot be spoken about that way. Okay, Eric does have one more thing to say, though. Eric says, the mistake a lot of the anti-Israel guys make is that they think the elites from that group who have influence over the world are Z words. Oh my God, homie, you're going to get me fucked with this chat. The George Soros of the world are globalists who couldn't give less of a damn about Israel Adesanya or the religion. I don't know. Off face value, Eric, I'm just going to tell you I would maybe disagree a little bit with that. You know, who's to say? Who's to say, Eric, that George Soros could give less of a damn? I know that's your interpretation, but who's to say? You know, that's more the absolutes topic again. Nobody knows that. We ought to sit George Soros down and ask him these things. That's the BlackRock homie, right? And then speaking about our Zion, yeah. Okay, I want to look something up. What is that word? What is a Zionist? We're really Googling a lot of things tonight. An ethno-cultural nationalist movement that emerged in the late 19th century Europe to establish support a homeland through colonization in the region of Pal, which roughly corresponds to the land of. Okay. So as a Zionist is somebody who wants to capture Palestine. Who's to say, bro? Who's to say, man? Who's to say? I can't speak on that, Eric. Yeah, you use George Soros, but what about some of the other ones? You know, what about some of the other ones? I don't know their names. But one of them beefs heavily with Nick Fuentes. I forget his name though. Tux goes, they used a lab in China to circumvent US regulations on this research. The money behind the WIV was from Fauci. Okay. What does WIV mean? Oh, Wuhan Institute of Virology. The money behind the Wuhan Institute of Virology was from Fauci. Okay. Nah, I got you, Tux. Thank you for that. Thank you for like educating me, homie. But see, and I know it seems like I'm like taking Tuxedo's word for it, and I can feel it. Like I don't want Eric to be thinking like, oh, you know, homie definitely just buying everything Tuxedo says because that's a narrative he already believes. But it's like Tuxedo is speaking facts, you know, and he's speaking about, you know, he's speaking about things. The money behind WIV was from Fauci. Like, I mean, I hope you're not lying to me, bro. because I'm the way you're saying it, it seems like it is a fact, and like, I'm choosing to believe it the way you're typing it out. They used a lab in China to circumvent U.S. regulations on this research. If these are facts that are proven, then like, this is the conversation I like to have, and that's why I'm saying thank you for that information, Tux, because I do feel you're kind of, you're actually giving me real information. And then, I can make of it what I want, right? But you're just telling me what Fauci did. And then I'm filling in the blanks for myself. So that is what I like to kind of get, you know. But don't get it twisted, Eric. I do like everything you're saying too. I'm trying not to pick sides. Okay, I'm gonna have to get off stream soon though, boys. But I mean, we're having a great conversation. Maybe we can continue this tomorrow, but it's getting late. It's 11:30. Yo, I just thought you should try to interview Arnold Allen. Oh, that'd be great. I could reach out to him. Maybe that could work, Tony. Thank you for the suggestion. Um, Look how powerful Fauci became after coronavirus. He's scum, and he talks and looks like just like a. Okay, no, I do think that Fauci's scum, Tux. I do. Soros is the worst of them all. Would Soros have funded Mamdani's campaign if he was pro-Israel? I don't know. A Zion is a Jewish. Okay. Globalism is really just a term for a world government that will be operated out of is. Oh. Oh, okay. Globalism is a term for a world government that will be operated out of Israel. Okay. Thank you. Not Tux. I mean, look it up. Okay. Okay. Hang on. Tuxedo, you might be able to fucking brainwash me, homie. The way you be speaking, shit, I'm just like, I should be questioning you more, maybe. Or maybe, you're keeping it a buck with me. Globalism has multiple meanings. In poli-sci, it is used to describe attempts to understand all the interconnections of the modern world and to highlight patterns that underlie and explain them. While primarily associated with world systems, it can be used to describe other global trends. The concept of globalism is also classically used to focus on ideologies of globalism instead of its processes. In this sense, globalism is globalization, what nationalism is to nationalization. Globalism as a concept dates from the 1940s and became dominant set of ideologies in the late 20th century. Bro, where does it say it's a government ran out of Israel? Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with that one. Tux, come on, Tux. I look anything I say up. Tux, it didn't say anything about being ran out of Israel. Am I missing it? Do I have to read more? Oh, globalization. Money is from Fauci. Okay, HT confirms it. Them saying it came from a bat is bullshit. Tux, just know I don't disbelieve you, but I just didn't read it. Unfortunately, if you look any of this stuff up, you won't find it. Flo, I didn't find it just now. When is the Buck fight? May 9th, buyer seller. On Google, he's not on the pay-per-view schedule. Oh, he will be. He's a part of the UFC 328 card, buyer seller, May 9th. Big Pharma was the biggest benefactor of the pandemic. Where do you think Vax was manufactured? Exactly this what I mean. All dangerous assumptions. Well, Flo, at least I'm here. At least I'm here, Flo. I'm trying to be responsible with it. Obviously, it's not going to say it on fucking Wikipedia. That's not what I meant. Look it up. I meant the Fauci stuff. Okay. Okay. Tux already brainwashed me. I got to out Dono here soon this week. Fucking Franklin. Shout out to Franklin. Yeah, Franklin, I'm effectively brainwashed too, homie. Tux just got a good way of doing it. I can't explain it. I think Tux is being authentic and genuine, though. And I think Eric is too. Don't get it twisted. I think Eric is too. But Tux is good at what he does. And then Eric says Big Pharma was the biggest benefactor of the pandemic. Where do you think Vax was manufactured? In China or the US? See, Eric, don't ask me, homie. Don't turn the question around on me. You gotta be like Tux right now and spell it out for me. You know, where was it manufactured? You tell me, homie. I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why I'm really vibing with Tux right now, because he's saying it. Google globalism and anti-Sem. Okay. Okay, you just want me to type in the words? And then we're going to get off because I really got to go. Globalism is an ideology advocating for increased international political, economic, and cultural interconnectedness, suggesting that global challenges require coordinated global solutions. It promotes open trade, interconnected policies, and multilateral cooperation. Often distinct from globalization, globalism is criticized for favoring elite interests over national sovereignty and is frequently used as a right-wing pejorative. Okay. Okay. Keyword globalism is criticized for favoring elite interests over national sovereignty and is frequently used as a right-wing pejorative. Now look at what? Anti? A prejudice, hatred, or discrimination directed against Jewish people, functioning as a specific form of racism rooted in historical conspiracy theories, stereotypes about power, and religious, ethnic, or cultural bias. It is pronounced, often manifests as slurs, violence, or systematic discrimination, with modern forms frequently linking to anti-Zionism and the targeting of. What Tuxedo is saying is all true. All the info was released in 2022. Thank you, HT. China was the answer. Flores goes, I used to be brainwashed by all this shit too before realizing that none of this shit is proven from working in a scientific background. You can't run with things that have no evidence / fact otherwise. Yeah, but I think some of the again, Flo, it's not like I woke up trying to talk about this, but I do think some of the COVID stuff has been proven, homie. I do think some of the stuff that they're referring to with COVID, it has been proven. And Fauci and stuff, I think what Tux is saying, he's speaking facts. No, both in the same search. Both in the same search. Okay. Wait, how am I? Okay. Wait, Tuxedo, how do you want me to type this in? Okay, Tux, I need you to just write it in the chat. I'm gonna paste in my Google search what you put in the chat. Can you please do it, homie? I'm telling you, you know, sound it out for me, please. Okay, yeah, Flo. COVID stuff has been for sure. Yeah. I got you. Tuxedo, please type it, and I'm gonna paste your chat into the Google search. I don't know, homie. I'm admitting. COVID vaccine was pushed with emergency use authorization as an experimental drug on the people that has been proven and released. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, bro, that shit has mercury in it. Okay, okay, I got it. I got it. So, okay, so here's the comparison. Globalism generally refers to prioritizing international economic and political systems over national ones. While anti Semitism is prejudice or hatred against Jews. In modern discourse, globalist is often used as an anti Semitic dog whistle, evoking conspiracy theories about Jewish control of world finance and media. Okay, so if you're a globalist, you're anti Semite. I'm Tux, can you spell this shit out for me? If you're a globalist, you're anti Semite? Honestly, I'm a little bit lost here. It's late too. I mean, maybe if this was an hour ago, I'd be able to get it, but I'm still not getting it. Globalism generally refers to prioritizing international economic and political systems over national ones. And that's what we do, right? We prioritize Israel's economic and political systems over our own. Anti-Semitism is prejudice or hatred against Jews. How do they coincide with each other? And what does dog whistle mean? Like a call, like a cat call? Globalist is often used an anti-Semitic dog whistle. Meaning if you call somebody a globalist, you evoke conspiracy theories about Jewish control of world finance and media. Everyone wants to blame the Jews. So funny. I think you may be too retarded for me to help you, Perry. That might just be the case, Tux. That might just be the case. I mean, but that's not even chill, Tux. For a guy who's trying to figure it out, it's spelled out right there. Then just say it. Then just say it. If you don't get it, I can't say any clearer. Yeah, I don't fully get it. Globalism generally refers to prioritizing international economic and political systems. I mean, I think I got it. We prioritize Israel's political system over our own. No one else is getting it. They're not sounding it out in the chat either. Is anyone facepalming? Bro, I've literally explained so many things to you guys in so many simple terms. Someone explain this shit. Someone explain this shit. I come on here every night and explain something. I don't get one thing and I'm getting gaslit by fucking Tux. Guy can't explain his conspiratorial thoughts and is getting angry at you, lol. Yeah, Tux. I mean, come on, bro. I don't think anybody's getting it. If you said it, maybe I would get it. Or maybe I would disagree. That shit doesn't matter. Those are all subcategories of fake ass shit. Honestly, buyer seller, I kind of align with that. It's like, bro, yeah, well, these little terms are just confusing the shit out of me. It's like, let's stick to big picture. But nah, I mean, it's been good information from Tux all night. This is just the hang up. Just drop it in the chat. Say true or false. This is my interpret. Globalist equals Jew. Okay. Yeah, that is what I got from it. Okay. All right. I got it now, Tux. Thank you. I just needed the confirmation, homie. That's what a dog whistle is. Okay. I just needed the confirmation. So what you're saying too, globalist is a Jew. And so when Eric said that George Soros is a globalist and he doesn't care, I guess what you're saying is, by definition, he proved your point. It's a code for something. I got you. I got you. I got you. And so, like I just got done saying, though, you're basically bringing this up to say that Eric is proving your point for you, I would assume. Because Eric says it, George Soros ain't a anti-Semite or a Zionist. He a globalist. But you're saying a globalist is also a Jew. So I get it. I get it. That's a wild assumption, man. Just wait till you find out what an elephant whistle is. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Constructive criticism. Dropped another message. Okay. Guys, this is too good. You guys are loving it. I even got my mom texting me, to be honest with you guys. She's telling me COVID is very complex. You need to do research before you respond. Fauci is scum. My mom thinks Fauci is scum. Heart attacks and heart disease from the vax. Neurological disorders. My mom's texting me. Yes, that is true. There is lots of data to prove what your last guy said about Fauci and his involvement in gain of function research. Boys, my mom is tapped in with Tux. China wants to be, but my mom's also tapped in with buyer seller. That's the interesting thing. China wants to be the world superpower, not good to be controlled by China. We can manufacture our own goods and not have child labor, which is what they have been producing, which is what they've been doing to produce our products. China is not our friend, neither is Iran. She says, yes, China buys all the farmland. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your mom, correct. Fauci is a piece of shit. Mom's tapped in. My mom based as fuck, ain't she, boys? My mom based as fuck. Not ask her if I'm spitting facts. No, she said you are. She said you are, Tux. She literally said, um, she literally said, there is a lot of data to prove what your last guy said about Fauci and his involvement in gain of function research. So she said you're spitting facts, Tux. She also goes, you have to do the research. COVID was the biggest crime against humanity ever. 3 exclamations. All for money and big pharma and government control. Yeah, yeah. All right. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to you, mom. You're watching right now. You see it. Okay, Eric's got one more thing to say. What Tux is trying to say is that because globalism is tied to anti-Semitism in a Google search, the two are correlated. What he failed to explain is what that has to do with Israel as a country. He can't separate Jews from the country of Israel. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. And that is fair. That is fair. You hear that, Tux? Hi, mom. Yeah. Shout out my mom. So Tux, Eric, he says that what you're failing to explain is what that has to do with Israel as a country, right? Globalism and Zionism, or globalism and anti-Semitism. What does that have to do with Israel as a country? He can't separate the Jews from the country of Israel. W mom, W Perry's mom. Big pharma being the key word there. I told you, my mom's like on Tux's side and Eric's side. It's kind of funny, but Tux and Eric seem to be on opposite sides. I don't know. We all part of the same camp, boys. I think we all part of the same camp. All right, boys. Let me get off the stream now. All right. It's been a great stream, though. I didn't expect it to be this great, to be honest with you guys. It's been a great stream. Fauci got immunity. Wonder why. I know. I know. Fuck that guy. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree it's fuck Fauci. All right, boys. Peace out. It's a long stream. I overdid it, so I'm not gonna shout out the streets tonight, boys. But shit, you got the extra shout out with an extra like, you know, an extra 20 minutes or so. So shout out to all you boys. Just know I thoroughly enjoyed this stream. This was a great stream. You know, you guys know we've been coming on here. We ain't had shit to talk about. So the fact that we got a really great topic, the whole chat was engaged. We all learning something. My mom's even blowing me up. It was a great stream. We even had the bitch ass neighbor fucking banging on the floor. So it was a great stream. Thank you everybody for watching. I will see you guys all tomorrow. And I'll read this last chat. Tux goes, in response to Eric, Tux says, Israel is the ethnic homeland of the Jews. LOL, does Eric not realize that? Okay, we'll leave it at that. ITMS, Tuxedo says. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Great stream, everybody. W stream. Run up the likes on your way out. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. Peace out, HT. Peace out, Buyer Seller. Peace out, Tony. Peace out, Tuxedo Mask. Peace out, Tyler Betts. Peace out, Eric Gould. All right. Peace out, Dundaughter. Peace out, Perfecto. Peace out, Jew. Peace out, Flores. Peace out, anyone else I might have missed. All right. You boys know I love to shout you out anyway. Buyer, seller. Shit, I'm going to do it anyway, I guess. Space Kid, my man, Space Kid, always in this bitch. We doing a quick shout out. Franklin. Shout out to fucking Franklin, my man. Andrew Nance was in here. Shout out to Andrew Nance. Shout out to Lou AI. New AI. Fuck old AI. Shout out to Andrew Nance if I didn't already say that one. Shout out Mike Co. Shout out Bloodhound Lil Jeff. Shout out to Zim. Shout out to MLE. Shout out to You Retarded. Shout out to Gabe. Shout out to Guy944. Shout out to Cody. Shout out to my mom for watching. Shout out Meat Rocket. Shout out Tony M. And that's it, boys. That's all I can see. All right, boys. Peace out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.